Hello.
Hello.
Hello, everybody. This is my first one of these things.
Good
Hello.
afternoon.
Welcome.
Thank you for
Oh,
joining.
thank you very much.
A lot of new movies
so-
came out.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm starting college.
Oh yay.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
I'm not gonna show the logo, but I'm gonna be a vet tech. So
Oh, awesome.
yeah, it's
Very
gonna be
nice throw there.
Right.
I always loved animals, so you know what? I may as well help them. So
Is that like a
Uh,
difficult thing to get into, you think, or no?
I don't know. I mean, my mom's a nurse. I can.
Mhm.
So I kind of, and not to make it sound like I know medical by proxy, but I have.
It's in the genes.
It's in the genes, yo. No, but I guess it's aspiring to me though, is what I'm trying to say. So
It's good.
yeah, so I'm excited for it. So yeah.
It's,
Is this all like decided since last month?
Hey,
No, it's actually been decided over a course of 6 months, actually.
Oh, okay.
hello.
Mm.
I
So,
saw Sia's music.
I was about to
Oh
ask.
dear.
and
Oh no.
Like you didn't
yeah, that's been
Oh,
like
no.
very controversial. Like I think one
Yeah.
of the biggest issues people have had with that movie is the fact that like a non-autistic actor was like.
Well,
cast as
no,
an
it's a
autistic
bit it's a
actor.
bit more than that.
Yeah,
at this
I mean,
point.
Benny Safdie did a great job playing a disabled person in Good Time, so I don't think that's
Oh, yeah.
really the problem.
That's a really good point.
Yeah, I don't know.
Was it done in poor taste?
I think, well, I mean, like, nobody would have paid attention to that aspect of it if Sia didn't, like, make it worse on Twitter.
Maybe you're
Um,
just a
yeah.
bad actor. Ooh.
Yeah, that was really
Yeah.
funny. I like that a lot. That was really, really funny.
Pretty good.
But yeah, the, like, if we're gonna talk about, like, it being, like, problematic in any way, it's, like, the big issue with it in that category would be that the film kind of like explicitly tells you that like you should restrain people while they're having fits and like basically just like jump on top of them and hold them down, which is apparently not.
I'm sorry, that's not funny.
No,
yeah, I
you
like
should be
saw
doing.
a clip of that on like Reddit and all that.
That's a
and,
yikes.
And she wasn't even
Yeah.
like acting that aggressive or like hitting people. She's just like, you know, having a meltdown, and the characters are like, "Well, gotta jump on her now."
How was
Yeah,
the,
and I-
It's just a little cringe.
I heard about
Actually
that.
Very cringe.
That's perhaps the public school solution, right
Oh,
there.
Yeah, maybe.
absolutely.
The problem is like I heard about that and was kind of like expecting it in the movie because that was something that was like even talked about before the public release. And
What's the
when
rate?
I watched the movie, it was like, man, this is probably like the worst I could have imagined for it. Like it not only happened, but like the character doing it was like, yes, this is what you should do. And then later in the movie, they do it again, and he teaches the main girl how to do it. He teaches the sister of the autistic girl. He's like, oh yes, here's how you do it, and it's like so explicitly from the perspective of the film. It's like so explicitly like teaching the audience that that's what you should do. It's not just like
Yeah,
an
but
incidental
Sia was-
scene that could be
but
interpreted
Sia-
that way. It's just like, wow,
yeah,
this
like
is really.
Sia was like, "Oh, I'm gonna put a warning that's like music doesn't condone that kind of behavior." Even though the
I
movie
didn't
does
get the
condone
warning
that
when I
kind of-
watched it.
Yeah, I didn't see
Oh,
the warning
yeah,
either.
same.
That might have been a
And-
theaters only sort of thing. I have no idea, or maybe they
And
lied.
Sia was,
How was
They
the
showed
main
it
was
girl's
also like, "Oh, I'll
performance?
remove those scenes later," but
garbage.
I don't know if she has.
The main girl's performance, I don't know what to think of it, honestly. I have no idea what to think of it.
Yeah,
it could
'cause
be-
There's been like screenshots floating around on Twitter. of,
Yeah,
like-
it doesn't. I don't know. I couldn't pinpoint what feels off about it, but something does feel off.
Well,
But
okay.
I don't really have
Very. I think
Does
it's
the
it-
really-
right answers to
does it
that.
establish what part of the spectrum she's on?
I don't even know how to classify that, but basically she's non-speaking. She is very
people are
sensitive to external stimuli. She wears headphones and listens to music all the time because like she has like superpower hearing basically that can freak her out.
Um,
I don't know.
functioning
Like,
then.
it's stupid that her name is music. I don't like that. That's really
Yeah.
stupid.
Yeah,
Her name's
the
was
movie
really
in
music.
general,
It's
Like-
okay. I mean, one of my neighbors named their kid. What is it? Oh fuck, I lost it.
Is she supposed to be a
It was.
metaphor?
It
I'm
was-
gonna
it was
name my
supposed to be
kid
a-
Movie.
I was gonna make the exact same joke.
Was it?
Oh,
I mean,
the kid was named Affliction. That's what it was.
What?
Wow. Wow.
Wow.
Yikes.
Yeah,
Oh,
Sia's.
no.
I like Sia's music a lot. She makes a cameo in the movie, and like I totally forgot she was Australian until she spoke in the movie, and it was really funny.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean,
You don't hear that in the
movie in
music.
general. The movie in general almost seems to be one of those things like Crushes, where it's just like kind of trying to guilt trip you into liking it just because it's about an important social issue. Maybe I'm wrong because I haven't.
I think
seen
that
it.
the biggest problem about the movie is that as much as I love Sia, it really just feels like the whole thing was made to feed her ego. Because like if
Yeah.
she can make the
Intention is
excuse for
everything.
to have
Look at
that
me,
part
I
of the
care about
film where it's
autistic
like
people.
to have that part of the film where like literally the movie is explicitly saying like this is what you should do, you should restrain and like lay on top of autistic people to get them to stop like having their fits at multiple times in the
no,
movie,
actually-
and then her excuse afterwards saying like I listened to the wrong people, her not really knowing about Autism Speaks as an organization. It's just like these things are piling up where she can only really plead ignorance for so long when it's like, okay, it's fine if you didn't know these things, but this was your passion project. So to not know those things is kind of like as an average person, it's like, okay, whatever. Like how, I could imagine somebody doesn't have access to that information. But if this is your passion project, you wrote and directed this, you made music for it, and you're pretending as if this is like what you're seriously passionate about, then it's like, that kind of contradicts all of the shit that you let kind of slip under the radar, all of the everything that you just weren't aware of and listened to the wrong people on. It's like, you're not really passionate about it. This was just to feed your ego. If you were passionate about it, you're really terrible at what you do. I don't believe that because she makes great music. I think she was just like not... I think she thought she could direct a movie and write a movie and it would just be easy and she could just like coast on it or something. Like, I don't know. I have no idea. Like, she's a great singer. I love her songs, but like, this is just, she didn't...
And she just waited to apologize after she got Golden Globe nominations.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah, I
if
don't
she
know.
ever apologized for her maybe you're just a bad actor tweets.
I don't think she should. That was really funny. That was hilarious to me.
I should probably mention that throughout my entire like middle school and high school life, I have been in cluster groups. So I have seen several forms of autism, but a lot of them never liked contact. So definitely piling on top of someone with autism is not exactly ideal.
Yeah.
You give them space and make sure they don't harm anyone, from what I remember.
Yeah,
I
just
could be
like
wrong, though.
hold them down on their back and like dump beans into their mouth, and then they'll be fine.
No,
You're
that's
right.
British people.
You're absolutely
them.
right.
I have a story on this in a same
British
similar sort of note.
Mhm.
I think someone was saying something about like a public school sort of solution. It
I
reminded
said
me of
that, yeah.
yeah, when I was visiting my high school in my first year of university, I saw this kid who was autistic, and the person who was taking care of them was like totally fucking dehumanizing. Like they were like when the kid was quote unquote misbehaving, like they would actively do things that would make them upset. And I'm just like, what the fuck is
Horrible.
wrong with you, lady?
That's like child.
There's
abuse.
a lot of people in control of and positions of authority that are working with like younger people and people with special needs that are just really abusive. Like even in like old folks homes, special care places, it's like this is just rampant. If you give individuals on the planet Earth who are human beings any sort of power over another human being, there's a certain amount of people that will just exploit that. That's just
absolutely.
just a part of
Stanford prison
being
experiment.
human.
I mean, that's proof of
Yeah,
that.
it's a thing I'm very familiar with, having been in special ed for like the entire time I was in school.
You should
Did somebody just mention the Stanford prison
I was gonna
experiment?
say you should look up the criticisms of the Stanford prison experiment because
Yeah, I
there's a
think they
lot
made
of
a movie about that.
no, yeah, that
Did they
too,
watch
but there's a lot of like interesting counter arguments to the how the experiment was conducted.
Well, a lot of
basically.
what's cool about the experiment is that it's not necessarily the experiment results that are interesting. It's the meta experiment of seeing how the guy who was running the experiment was basically falling under the same problems.
Sure. Yeah.
Adam,
Yeah. What's up?
Oh no, this is kind of in a similar vein. Because I'm a sociology major and I just had to watch this documentary for one of my classes, and you may have already seen it, but it's really, really interesting subject matter, and it's also kind of about experiments. It's called Three Identical Strangers.
Oh,
I've seen it. It was great.
Heard about that.
Yeah.
it's
It was a really good documentary.
Very interesting.
Yeah, I hate to interrupt. There's a package at my door, and I don't want to get porch pirated again, so I'll be back in a couple of minutes.
Oh,
I'm just
no.
gonna.
Same.
Yeah, hold on. I'll be right back. No, I don't want to get. So that's why I'm grabbing it now. Hopefully.
Okay.
Hold on. I'll be right back in a couple
get
minutes.
Mine. I still got a few minutes till I gotta get mine.
It's like
So-
right there at the door the instant I get something delivered.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm waiting
so
on a few
interesting.
things, but I doubt I'm gonna get them today. I would have gotten them by now.
What do we think is like the movie that handles autism representation like the worst?
The Predator.
Music.
The Predator.
I was-
That's good.
Personally, I've never seen any other films that have
Well, like
autism featured.
I was gonna
in it.
say maybe
Chocolate.
like
During the Rain Man time,
Rain
it was
Man,
popular.
yeah.
for
Yeah,
Rain
I've heard
Man, yeah,
people
actually,
saying
never mind.
about
No, but I
I've
give
heard
Rain
people
Man some
saying that, like,
benefit because
Gilbert
Predator
Grape
is doing the
was
Rain Man thing again, but like 20 years
Have you ever
later.
heard? Have you ever heard of a kung fu movie called Chocolate?
No.
It's about like an
No.
autistic Asian girl who
Oh my
knows
god.
kung fu because she watches kung fu movies.
Yeah, that's Predator.
Yeah.
Is that
Like
Wow.
Predator is like they say like autism is the next step of human evolution. or something.
It's like saying I
Yeah.
know
Yeah,
surgery.
right. Yeah.
It's saying
Oh,
I know
like,
surgery because I watched
so
like,
condescending.
playthroughs of Surgeon Simulator.
Well, the thing with it is
Oh
that there's
my
a lot of
God.
movies that have done the autism is like the next level thing, or they only focus on auteurs.
Yeah.
But a lot of those are from the 90s. The fact that Predator came out so recent,
Like
and
2018, I
yeah, and
think.
they're still using those tropes. It's
Oh.
like, come on, man, everyone
Well,
got
I
over
would
that like
argue
20 years
that-
ago.
I was gonna say
Good
riding the
lord.
bus with my sister.
Oh,
Jesus,
no.
Autism?
She
I think that's even
autistic.
autism.
I don't know if that one's autism. I don't.
She
I don't-
seemed
No,
more
that
like,
is definitely
Adam
not
would have
autism.
mentioned that like right away.
she sounded more like
Oh, it's
Downs or brain damage.
Yes,
It
she
seemed
seemed
like
she
an
was playing
amalgamation of a
characters.
lot of different things. It's just mental illness.
It's
I mean,
such a
Simple
great
Jack
performance,
wasn't
you can't
great
tell,
either.
yeah.
Yeah.
Simple Jack was great. It was the best movie of 9/11.
You mean
What?
extremely close and
Simple Jack.
incredibly something? No,
I mean, it's not
extremely
as
close
good.
and
Like Kirby
incredibly
Live.
Hello.
approach, that's
Simple
what it's
Jack.
called.
What'd you get?
There was no
Loud
package,
and
but somebody was at my door looking in my mailbox, and I have an idea of who that
What?
was, but there was no.
It was
Yeah,
the
don't worry
person
about it.
Is
stealing
it the same
package.
bitch?
Wasn't the same
No, no, no,
person?
no, no. I don't think there was a theft. It's just, yeah.
You don't think?
It's
Very
complicated.
savage.
It's complicated.
Everything's complicated.
There's like a really annoying person that like looks like they might be homeless, but I'm not sure.
Mm.
But has mail show up at at my home for them, and I keep asking them to change their address. I don't know if they actually used to live here or if they're just like pretending they live at my address. So
How do you do
It's
that? Do
annoying.
you like yell out the window?
what? No, I mean sometimes they just like knock on the door asking for mail. Sometimes
Mm.
like
Oh,
just
that's
stuff
even
with their
better.
name on it.
Hey,
Yeah.
do you have any of my mail?
Yeah, yeah. It was really annoying when he like
Okay.
just did that without a mask. I was like, seriously? I keep asking him. He's like, oh, I don't know. I've tried changing it, and they just keep delivering it here. It's like, well, there's a flaw, and I didn't say this out loud, but like, there's a really big hole in that story. It's like, how do you know it's here if you ask them to change? If everything that you have is supposed to be delivered to a different address, how would you know it's here? How do you magically know when like there's stuff here for you? Is
Oh, the timing.
yeah, it's annoying. It's annoying, but like I don't know if they're like actually homeless or something. I kind of feel bad. Like, do I really want to get the cops involved if they're just like really annoying? I don't know.
I don't know how it is in Canada, but when I
Sounds
changed
very
my
shady.
when I changed my mailing address, it wasn't very hard at all.
I know it's not hard. It's not.
Well,
it's the
it's hard
least
if you don't
difficult
have a new one.
process ever. Yeah, like you can.
The guy's
You have
actually
something
homeless.
called mail forwarding, where you can literally like automatically anything with your name on it that goes to the old address will be forwarded to the new address. That's like
Yeah,
a
we do
really
that
easy
too.
service to set up in Canada.
Cool.
Do you guys have a big like anti-mask contingency in Canada, or is it regional?
Not
Like, do you
huge,
have
no.
it?
Oh,
Like
it's
yeah, there's like
depends like where you
there's
live.
like there's the odd group here, but like, I don't know. I saw a video on the Vancouver subreddit. I think it was like a month ago or something, and there was like an anti-mask rally. It was like 15 people. It wasn't like like they exist. I don't know.
I think you said that like
masks exist that
not
say
like the
this
States.
mask is useless or something.
Could be wrong,
Not
but
as bad as the States.
Yeah,
think
yeah,
I
it's really
remember
weird.
Nowhere near that level.
Here in Halifax, like you'll get people yelling at you if you don't wear your mask.
I could
So
be
I
remembering
personally
wrong,
think
but
that- Oh, sorry.
I have to wear a mask at work.
I could be remembering wrong, but didn't you say something about like people throwing shit at the anti-maskers or?
Oh yeah, that was a separate one earlier. Yeah,
That's
that one was a bit
That's pretty
bigger.
bad on both sides.
But that was like an anti-lockdown one, which was even stupider because I don't think Vancouver has ever had a lockdown. I don't think we've actually even had a lockdown. So it was like, what are you even protesting? Like things are still open. We didn't even have a mask mandate until like a couple months ago. It was really weird. Yeah, like BC has been like really slow when it comes to like actually enforcing these things. Our provincial health minister, or whatever her classification is, Dr. Bonnie Henry, has pretty much just taken the route of just being like, well, everybody, you know what you're supposed to do, and hopefully you do. Just like hoping that being nice and people will just do things out of the goodness of their own hearts, which is just not how people work. So she's been kind of annoying, but I don't know. Like we have some sort of mask mandate now. I don't think it applies to schools though, which is weird. Yeah.
How many cases do you have?
Kids are still vectors of transmission.
How many cases? Let's see. BC.
It's weird because like
coronavirus.
my nephew got exposed, but he didn't get sick. So
yeah, we're like let's see. I think every time I hear an update, it's like in the hundreds, around like 400. Not for the city, for the whole province.
Yeah. That's still bonkers.
So, I mean, the person that said, "Geez, you're Australian, right?" Like, it's gonna seem like a lot to you. But...
We get more than 10 a day. Our entire
exactly.
state goes in the
I know. I wish we operated like Australia. The problem is like Australia and New Zealand. As much as I wish that we took the exact same measures, the problem is that like our economy is so closely tied to the United States, and there's constantly shipping and trucks going across the border. Like if the United States isn't doing anything about it, then it's like, I don't know. There's only so much we can do here. I still think that doing like proper lockdowns would be a good idea. But yeah,
over here in the Queen's country, we're in lockdown number 3.
Yeah, I heard
the Queen's realm.
Well, the problem that we have in
is it like a real lockdown though? Exactly. That's why you have to do a third one.
We'll do non-essential company lockdowns, but that covers like 30% of business. Like a huge portion of business that gets done serves food.
Yeah,
is
my
transportation
hometown
or
acts like
medicine.
nothing's going on. It's actually insane. I
One
wear a
thing I've
mask
noticed
when I need to
about
go
the
like
States-
run errands and shit.
Well, the other problem is that like if they paid people to like offset the lockdowns, it wouldn't be a big deal. But like I have friends who own bars. I mean, Adam, your brother does, right?
Yeah, that's not his main source of income at the moment, though. So he's doing fine.
Well, I got a friend who like he opened his bar in February.
Yeah.
Feels
like
and used his life savings and stuff. And if they just
wow, that's like a really bad time to open a bar.
It turns
it's like
out
the worst time in someone's
like
entire life.
Maybe in his entire life, that was the worst timing he could have picked.
A lot of places in the States, it kind of feels like we're like locking everything down or taking very good measures for like a few weeks or a month, and then just when it seems like it's starting to get a little bit better, we're like, okay, it's good now, so let's just open everything back
Well, the
up.
real problem is that if they don't pay us, you can't do it indefinitely. People just lose their businesses or they starve. So the problem is that like we need like a socialist revolution here, and I could go on for 6 more hours about all the reasons why that's not happening. But the fact that it's not happening,
you're never getting recurring payments in the United States. It was difficult enough to get the 1,400 plus 600 or whatever. So
well, and that's the thing here is like trying to convince people, because I even had a friend who was like, "Man, we're so greedy. We want $2,000 once," and I'm like, "Oh my god!" Like they've indoctrinated us so bad.
Yeah.
you know, everyone here is like, well, it's okay because I'll be the Wolf of Wall Street tomorrow. You know, so
Yep.
60%
or something believe they'll be millionaires in the next 10 years. What's the statistic?
Well, that's the
of Americans.
That's you know,
like over
people
half the
watch
country believes they'll
Scarface
be
and they're like,
millionaires.
yeah.
That's
Yeah,
nice.
my favorite phrase is that Americans see ourselves as temporarily embarrassed millionaires. And I was very, very, very conservative for a very long time in my life. And the biggest thing that actually like broke me of a lot of the viewpoints I had was actually trying and working and doing the things I had been told would guarantee me certain levels of success. And then you start to actually see what the system's really like. And you're like, oh, wait.
Especially post-secondary, right? Like student
What's
debt's
that?
like a huge crippling thing post-secondary education.
Yeah.
It's like you're
Well,
taught
I mean,
you
that's
need
the thing.
that.
I was just joking yesterday.
Not saying you shouldn't get it if you're somebody listening to me and have interests that require
well, it also depends on what you're trying to get into.
Yeah,
right? More
It's
than
your
ever
own
because
case-by-case
student debt is so
basis.
high. Feasibility of being able to make money off of that degree is
Oh yeah, like
paramount.
I just finished doing an English literature degree, and now I'm doing furry art of a certain brand to get money. So I'm like, it's a crazy world.
Good way.
It's the way to
Is
be,
it-
man.
Is it paying well at
You know,
least?
I hear it does.
I hear furry commissions.
It's
don't
not.
a lot.
It's not bad.
I mean, if they're
Okay.
willing to pay
It's
like
not bad.
as you're doing well.
$1,200 for a suit, then I'd imagine.
No. He's talking about art, right?
Yeah. It's of the two-dimensional like variety.
Right.
But
Well,
I'm
it's interesting. I have a
still,
couple
like-
friends who are artists, and they said, yeah, they're like the same thing. They're like, if my parents knew that, like, basically 90% of my real income comes from furry commissions, you know, like.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
like
funny.
it's a
Stuff
really
makes
it's a real
bank.
adventure to like work around it. Since I'm living with my parents right now, I'm like I always have a separate tab open so I can like switch to that if they come in. It's honest. I'm
You know what,
living on
dude?
the
Just
edge,
be
man.
big ball style, man. Be like, what? You're like,
Steer
I
your
make my
parents'
money how I make
KPIs.
it. You make it how
Yeah.
you do. I don't go to your job.
I got
Bother
a
you.
question
This
for
is
Adam.
my house. What's up?
Show those balls.
Actually, I have about 2 questions and possibly a suggestion. Also,
Sure.
I have to go to work soon.
Okay, no worries.
One, are you going to watch the Bahubali Part 2 for the
No.
Sardonic?
No, we already recorded the episode. I did not watch part 2.
But wait, it's like
okay,
one
cool.
big.
I would have
I
watched
am
part 2
so
if part
excited.
2 was recommended.
I
But it
definitely
wasn't,
wasted
so-
2 hours and 45 minutes then. Okay then.
Yeah.
Everyone considers
you
like
didn't,
part
'cause that
one to
stuff's
be
dope.
great or
Are you
something.
willing to share your opinion? Or...
I love
I think it's a
both of
cultural
them.
thing, though.
The suggestion,
It's epic.
I was curious for the 100th episode of Sardonicast,
Mhm.
would there possibly be able to be a recommendation from all 3 of you, and the sardines can
Yeah,
pick it?
yeah, I was
Sorry,
thinking
go on,
about
man.
that.
Like a
Well, I
poll
mean,
or
we got a lot of time to plan for it, but yeah,
Are we
that's in my-
sardines?
Maybe.
Sardines.
How did I not know about this?
Sards.
Awesome.
I like
it's not
sardonic
official,
more.
but
Sardonic.
Sure.
Sard-
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like we can do a fan recommendation for episode 100. I think.
And
I think
my
that would
last
probably work.
question: is there gonna be any more Twilight commentaries? Because I did
Yep.
buy the 3rd one
Very
and I'm
soon.
trying to make sure if that was a good purchase or not.
Yep.
God help
This week should be.
The ratings are increasing, so at least they're getting better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey Adam,
Yes. What's up?
Oh, the last one.
I just wanted to add. Well, first of all, I like your new Blu-ray case.
Oh, thank you. It's
Yeah, that's
it's
great.
more space efficient.
Ooh, okay, all right. There's some
Yeah.
good gaming going on at that desk.
Ace.
Luxurious.
Very
But
fancy.
I wanted to ask not only your thoughts on it, but I also wanted to ask how you saw Saint Maud, because I can't find it anywhere. Like
Yeah, me neither.
I'm in,
It's
like,
out?
It's on,
It's on demand on most platforms for us.
I couldn't find it. I'm in North America.
Like HBO Max?
oh, I'm.
Like,
I'm in
I got it
North
on
America, too.
YouTube Movies. It was also
YouTube
on
Movies,
Prime
okay.
Video for rental.
Yeah, I'm down. Is it like $20 right now?
It's
It was
on
15 for
iTunes.
us.
Okay. I was gonna
I-
watch Willy's Wonderland, but I was like, I'm not paying $20 for that yet.
You enjoy
I,
it?
I was
I
gonna.
watched Saint
Yeah,
Maud
it was
through
like
Netflix.
Willy's
I liked Saint Maud.
Wonderland an entertaining Nicolas Cage movie, or was it
Uh,
just boring?
Yes, it was entertaining. It was stupid, but the stupid parts were more funny than frustrating. And perhaps this was also just a bit of a refreshment from having watched another Nicolas Cage movie like less than 2 weeks ago that was really boring.
Is it as self-aware as the trailer makes it look?
I don't know if I've seen the trailer for Willy's Wonderland. I mean, it's pretty self-aware.
Okay.
It knows it's stupid. It would be better if it also tried to be a great movie at the same time, but it's kind of just a shit post. It's fine.
So it goes.
It's fun. It's like a good
your-
drunk movie. There's nothing wrong with it.
Oh, and I just saw Face Off with your commentary. It was really funny.
Oh, thank you.
What made you decide to do
How
a
many
commentary
fucking?
track?
Sorry.
Didn't you guys see Judas and the Black Messiah?
What made you decide?
I was gonna rent it,
commentary
but then
track?
the theaters reopened, so I saw it in theaters instead.
Oh, you're going to see it in theaters instead? Okay.
Well, I already saw it in theaters. Yeah.
Oh, you did, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, I love that.
Keith Stanfield.
Keith Stanfield's incredible.
questions for Adam.
Probably my favorite
Yeah.
Daniel Kaluuya performance ever.
What inspired
Kaluuya.
you to do a commentary track for
Did I say
Face Off?
Kaluuya?
Yeah, it's tempting to say Kahlua, but
Kahlua.
Hey
it's
Adam,
not.
I got 2 questions and I gotta head to work.
Sure.
One, how can I see Caught in the Net? Because I really want to see it after you mentioned it.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, apparently there's like a website you can watch it on with like a VPN that's like a Czech thing. I don't remember. Somebody posted in the subreddit once, I think. But watch out. There's like a few different versions of it. There's one you can buy off Amazon, but it's like, I think it's one that's like, not just censored, but with like a lot of sections cut from it to show for like school.
okay,
Like, there's like a show to kids version, like to be educational for schools. But yeah, there's like 3 different versions. One's cut down for kids. One's full with censoring of like nudity and a bunch of stuff like that. And then there's another version that's like uncensored, I think. But the festival version was the middle one.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
I don't
second
know.
question-
It would be cool if it got a Blu-ray, but I have no idea at the moment.
Yeah. Second question, it's a weird one. How's your knee since you broke it like 7 years ago? And did you need surgery for that at all? Or?
I didn't get surgery. It's not 100%. It still sucks, but I'm trying to see if it can be not as bad just by trying to, movement and exercise and stuff.
It's still giving you issues today.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Broken ligaments they don't recover unless you get invasive surgery, and depending on what grade the tear is or what kind of injury.
Yeah.
It is.
It's funny because it's not my knee, but I did stub my toe on a freaking scale.
Jeez.
And to this day, my toe still pops from it. So.
Ouch.
I dropped a line on my toe and broke my toenail in half.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it was my breakfast too. I lost it all.
That's very sad. Sucks.
Nice. I was actually going to mention something while we were on that topic of the lockdown, but I was kind of recalling what it was like last year around this time.
It's the same as it is right now here.
It's certainly better. But since I'm in Utah, we had that earthquake March 15th, I think.
You had an earthquake?
Yeah, it was awful. It was a 5.7.
What? Wow. I didn't hear about
Pretty
that.
intense, Jesus.
Yeah.
Next door.
And then we had a full lockdown before that, and it was still a full lockdown afterwards. So it was basically being trapped inside of a death trap.
Jesus.
Because I am so glad Animal Crossing came out at the same time because
it came out at the perfect time.
If you're
Like,
not
really,
near
literally.
skyscrapers, couldn't you like just go outside?
Well, the thing is, the area that I live in, it's not necessarily big, but it's still bustling and it's a lot of small businesses. So a lot of them went down. So there was no real point to go outside.
Mm-hmm.
Even like
you live
fast
like near
food-
businesses?
Oh yes, absolutely. I'm not
You're,
going
like,
to say
downtown
the
or
exact.
something?
I'm not going to say the exact area where I'm at.
Well, no,
but
that's
it's-
fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell us
it's-
your address right now.
Yeah. I just
Just
figure
bring
like
it up.
I've lived in some pretty
Social
rural
security.
areas before, and it seems like if there's an earthquake, I could just like be out where there's
I live at
nothing.
NASA. But anyway,
Nice.
but no, it's how do I describe the area? It's a
I live
very
out
small
next to
town,
NORAD,
but
and there's a lot of
very
empty space
business. because I guess the mayor of the area wanted to turn it into the little downtown, they call it. So but it's but while the earthquakes and the aftershocks were happening, it sucked because I was also out of work. So while my mom was off at her work, I was home alone feeling the aftershocks, and it sucked. I hated it so much. In fact, there was a time where I was sitting at home waiting for my friend to come over. He was taking his time, and then a 4.1 hit. I was just like, I texted him like, dude, get your ass over here now, please. Because it was like, oh, I was so frightened because I don't know. Needless to say, I do not want to experience another earthquake in my life, but it's probably.
Have you guys been keeping up with WandaVision?
Yeah, I have.
Yes.
No.
I want to watch it.
As
On my
episode
mind.
4.
Have you seen it, Adam?
No.
It seems like
either.
somewhat
loving it.
unique, which is crazy for Marvel.
That's the
Is
point.
it-
Yeah,
I'm
I
just
think
like-
it's the best thing that the
Watching?
MCU has done.
I mean, I love it, but then again, I also love the Marvel movies, so maybe my
That's fair.
I'm
Yeah,
so
the trailer, like, reminds me
fatigued
of
from the
Pleasant
Bring it up
genre,
'cause
and
I
I
hate
get
them
that
so
it's like
much.
not the genre, but like, it's like the only way you can get people to watch some kind of like weird show is if it's like also a superhero
that is-
thing, even only just in name, you know, like it's just
Loki
kind
is
of
gonna be a
annoying in
Quantum Leap
concept.
remake.
But people have been using
And so
crazy adjectives for that movie. Like they call it like Lynchian and shit.
It
Like,
is.
For WandaVision?
Is it actually?
It is. Yes, it
Oh,
is.
okay.
Oh yeah,
I said
episode.
it was my favorite Lynch thing that came out in the last like 15 years.
Oh man,
Episodes 5 pretty crazy.
I have to.
Yeah, every
Oh,
episode's
man.
crazy. I the other thing I really appreciate is it's so slow and tempered,
Yes.
where it would be so if it was just another one of the big movie franchises, everything would have been picked up so much earlier. But it's like they have 3 episodes where they don't give you like anything. It's all just kind of like straightforward, and then there's little hints here and there that something's even wrong.
How many episodes is it running for?
9.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
no.
Okay.
And we're on
Is it?
6 right now, so yeah.
Okay.
Oh, it's
I'm
an
shocked,
actual
though.
mini-series.
Yeah, I think this is going to be my hope in theory is that this is them finally trying to attract people who they haven't already attracted. And so this is giving them the opportunities through these smaller shows to start doing things that aren't just action adventures like every other movie is. And Adam's totally right. Like if they were going to remake Quantum Leap, no one would watch it, but the Loki show is basically just Quantum Leap starring Loki, and now everyone's going to watch it.
Yeah,
Oh, nice.
like all you have to do is just attach like a Marvel character onto something, and then people will actually see it.
It's Quantum Leap. Can we
I'm
have a
imagining-
scene where like Loki turns around and says, I'm retarded, and then in the mirror it's like,
I
oh,
sure
man,
hope
boy.
so. I sure hope so.
Goodness.
I don't understand movies these days, I swear.
He's going to be
Yeah.
DB Cooper.
Yeah, same
So
thing,
what
like,
are we?
one
Some
thing
kind
that-
of
That show.
Suicide Squad.
Oh yeah.
what
did
are
you
we?
guys
Some
catch-
kind of Zack Snyder's the Justice
In a
League.
society.
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah, did you guys catch the We Live in a
Yeah,
Society?
Dude,
That was
Patrick,
incredible.
The American
I
Psycho.
have
Yeah, the biggest
serious
thing that I'm like
WandaVision.
kind of worried about with the Snyder cut is that
It's
the
gonna be
same
suck.
thing will happen. No, the same thing will happen that happened with like The Dark Knight Rises when I got like one negative review, like a bunch of angry Christopher Nolan fanboys like sent the critic death threats, and I'm kind of worried that that's
Oh,
gonna
that happens
happen
every
with this-
movie. You
That's what
can't-
happened with Black Panther
Well, I'm gonna.
too.
Well, I'm especially worried about this movie because of how much it's been hyped up and how much people have been like, release the Snyder Cut for years. And then if it
Remember
gets like
when-
anything other than universally positive reviews, everybody will just go nuts.
I already have it. I already made like a prediction video that wasn't very nice about it, and it was like wildly negatively received.
Yeah.
So,
if you're,
I keep hearing so many different things about this Snyder cut. So it's just one big old movie. Right?
Now I
Like
think
4
it
hours.
is. They played with the idea of it being a miniseries, and I think they're going back to a 4-hour movie.
Oh, 4 hours.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can sit
Will
through
it be
4
better?
hours of that.
If you're one of the ones
If
who's
Tenet
stoked
was,
about
like,
it, then
the
that's
most
probably.
Nolan-y
I'm
Christopher
excited to watch it
Nolan
crash
movie.
and burn.
Like,
yeah, I was
if-
wondering why is it?
So excited for
Was
this
it supposed
right
to come out in like November or December this year?
No, March. It's gonna
It's
come
now
out
gonna be
March
good.
18th.
Oh, now it got pushed
my
to March.
prediction My prediction
only-
for the Snyder Cut is that it's gonna be like the most Snydery thing Zack Snyder's ever made, just like Tenet was the most Nolan-y movie Christopher Nolan ever made.
Well,
Oh, so
time,
Ralph's gonna
every
like
time
it then.
Snyder makes anything, basically, it's always just
enjoy.
Sucker Punch again. Like everything looks and feels like Sucker Punch, like
Oh,
every
God.
time.
Yeah.
That's
So
so
frustrating.
What a
Here he's
mess.
making
If you
a
want
black and
to
white
fix
version too.
how boring Zack Snyder's movies are, you make them longer. That's
Yes.
how you fix them.
Yeah, I think like
I don't know.
Watchmen is also 4 hours, or at least the Ultimate Edition is.
It's like
so,
3.5, yeah.
Yeah.
So far from what I've seen from Zack Snyder is he's just plateauing, and if he extends his films, it's just a fucking extended plateau. How about that?
Well,
Yeah,
I've been saying
this,
for a while that if you really like his look, which I think is the most unique voice he has, everything
I
else
think
is
that's
pretty
the best
generic.
look.
If you like his look, then hire him
Not
as
the
the,
best
the,
look.
the director of photography.
is the
Yeah,
Snyder
like,
Cut.
I
That's
don't
that's
like his
best
look.
quality. Sorry.
No, I don't either. But I'm saying that like I think that they keep hiring him because he has a certain look appeal. Everything looks like 300. You know,
Yeah.
it's always like desaturated and crunched really
Yeah,
badly.
and the exposure.
It
And the
could work for
exposure, and
certain
it's
things.
really contrasty. But again, it's like I was looking at his movie listing and I realized that like I've seen every one of his movies because he hasn't even made that many. He just keeps being given these huge like, you know, hey, make Watchmen now. Now make, you know, I guess
I've
300
always-
just did so well.
I've always had this feeling like Snyder just really wants to make the next Dark Knight.
Well,
yeah.
but he wants to make the Dark Knight though
Yeah.
from the viewpoint of like a 16-year-old who works at Hot Topic.
Y-
Like
yeah,
he
yeah.
makes that's
like the
edgy
2008 interview, like Snyder was
Oh,
like,
God.
"Oh yeah,
Oh,
everyone says
man.
Batman Begins is dark, but if I wanted to make Batman really dark, I'd have him get raped in prison."
Yeah, rape in
It's
prison.
just like, what the hell?
But he still
if,
doesn't do that though. His stuff is all still like PG-13.
He has a misunderstanding of what genre he's in.
Yeah.
He's like he's trying to make things like way too serious for like the characters that exist in the films that he's making.
And yet,
Like the
Batman
whole
doesn't have to be raped in prison.
promotion
Yeah,
for the
like-
Snyder Cut thing, like black and white, fucking like what is that,
Yeah.
4:3 aspect ratio or
why
some
does it
shit?
have
Or,
to
like
be in black and white? It's
Well, they're
so
releasing
cool.
two versions.
Because he's
so
making a
pointless.
masterpiece. It's like the master.
Yeah.
that's
What if
so
the
yeah,
Master
like
wasn't in
artist.
black and
He's really
white.
trying to
like I
insist
don't
that-
know.
Yes,
Like,
insisting. That's
save-
a good word.
Save
I
being
can't wait-
pretentious for a movie that's not a superhero movie where people
Right,
go
exactly.
poo poo
Yeah,
ka-chow
exactly.
and there's a
Like,
big boy and you gotta smash him with a hammer or something. You
Well,
know?
and
Like,
again, though,
I
Another
can't wait
question
to
for
see
Adam.
how Armin White is gonna react to the Snyder Cut.
Well, and I
Yeah.
He'll probably love it.
I
He'll
found
probably
out that
love it.
like what's really weird is like I found out recently that Richard Spencer also loves Zack Snyder. So like the two
who's
biggest
Richard
Zack
Spencer?
Snyder fans are like Armand White and Richard Spencer, as far as I
Richard
know.
Spencer is the guy who was like Heil Trump, you know.
Yeah,
He's
he
a
was
very
that boy.
neo-Nazi
Oh,
guy.
boy.
I got
The
another
number
question
one
for
thing,
So
I didn't know who Richard Spencer even was until he got decked in the face and everybody was
Me
talking
too.
about that.
Oh yeah. Okay.
so someone
I
I
can
got
mentioned
imagine
hot
Zack
topic.
Snyder
Another-
handed
question
something
for Adam.
for kids.
Uh-huh.
Like,
What's up?
I don't know if it makes a difference on what state I say, but my state is becoming legalized for weed
Yeah.
sometime this year, and I was
Awesome.
wondering if there was any like
Ew.
do's and don'ts for someone who's going to be living in that type of reality.
Man, I know it seems like I smoke a lot of weed, but I really don't. I haven't bought weed in like. I haven't bought weed since well before it was legal, so I
Well,
don't.
it was-
I
it was
don't
more
remember.
like
I
a-
might have been in my teens the last time I bought weed. Like I have friends and roommates that smoke weed, but like I have no. I don't know. I wouldn't know where to look to purchase weed at this moment.
Just LSD.
So I have
now.
no idea.
No, I'm not. I'm
Um,
not asking that. I'm just making like
Like
kind
do's
of
and don'ts, though?
assumption
Like, I
on,
don't know.
yeah, just kind of like is there a different idea of like how people look at it, or just kind of
I
different?
guess it would depend where you are. I don't know. Like you can look up the bylaws in your area. I'm sure it's treated the same as like smoking cigarettes, in terms of like where you can do it and like etiquette for it. What's really funny, there's like a designated weed smoking spot at the Vancouver airport, which is hilarious. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
There's
I
like a
can't wait
sign
till we're
for it with
federally
like a big
legal.
pot leaf.
Just smoke here.
Wow.
So someone
Yeah.
It
mentioned
would probably
earlier.
look like someone tagged it.
We could be federally legal today, but you know, we won't.
yeah.
But we could.
But it would be
and that
too
be dope.
divisive.
Ronald,
I don't think it's that. I think special interest groups.
It's funny because like I do consider myself like more right leaning, but I do believe marijuana should be legalized.
Well, marijuana shouldn't be a right or left thing anyway, though. You know, like the right should be.
But everyone
fighting for it
says
as a
like
freedom
It's eventually
zone.
how it goes.
No, the right
feel
hates
like
it because
if-
the problem is that the left and the right are both split into two major groups, and so the right has the traditional kind of like family values group, and then it has like the fiscally conservative group. And so the family values people are not into weed because baby Jesus, but everyone else, it's like it's a freedom issue. You should be like, hey, the government can't tell me I can't smoke a plant.
Well, it's just like how masks have become a political issue.
Exactly,
like,
right,
That's
they shouldn't be
literally the
politicized,
last
yeah.
thing
It's like
that
it
should
shouldn't
be
be.
a political issue.
The problem that we
I'm
have
saying-
right now is that the left and the right hate each other so much. It's the Whigs and Tories.
it's-
So if the Tories say anything, the Whigs automatically are against it. Or if the Whigs say anything, the Tories are automatically against it.
I honestly do not like that factor either. That's
Well, no one
where
does, but it's just
nation hinges
tribalism is
on.
effective and powerful.
It's
because
exactly tribalism.
And because our media
Yeah.
companies are so bought and paid for, then it really encourages them to keep eyeballs. I mean, they're basically YouTubers, right? Like they just need to get eyeballs on their stuff. That's why everyone took a 40% drop when Trump, you know, got kicked out. So it's we're in a bad spot. Coming to Canada.
I don't see like
I don't know.
I don't understand any arguments for weed being illegal when like alcohol also exists.
Exactly, right.
Exactly.
And if you were to get a
Yes.
kid and like show them the side effects of different drugs, they would put alcohol like next to heroin.
Yeah,
It's horrible.
Like alcohol is so much worse than weed. If you
Destroys life. I mean, any argument you can make about almost any drug, alcohol already does it and has like
Yeah.
massive government subsidies.
It's like you
remember,
completely
like,
lose the
Reefer
argument.
Madness,
Yeah.
which is this like
Oh, God,
famous,
no.
which is this like hilariously bad. Ooh, we don't mess you up propaganda film that they like made in the
Reefer Madness, yeah.
1930s.
It's the
Meanwhile,
greatest film
people
of
Did you
all
guys see the
time.
comedy remake?
dying and
Best movie ever.
No, a musical. It
I've heard people
turned into
call
a musical.
Yeah, I mean,
for
same
a
thing.
dream
I,
for madness.
Nobody
Oh
took
my
it
gosh.
seriously.
Well, you know,
Why
I
is
think
that
one of
not?
the. Did you guys ever hear about the government had a program where they were trying to figure out how to send messages to people 10,000 years in the future? And it was to try to figure out how to worry about like toxic waste or something so that people don't build on those places in 10,000 years. One of the concerns they had was not to oversell the danger, because if a person tested it and if you told them something like don't touch it or you'll die, and they realize that that's not true, immediately they're going to be like, oh, well, screw it, they're lying. I think that's what happened with Dare, is like they told all of us millennials that, you know, it was like, no, you smoke weed once, you'll kill your family. And then you try it once and you're
Yeah.
like, oh, this is nothing. So then all of a sudden you're like, well, maybe heroin and crack isn't really what they said it was. Either,
Yeah,
you know?
any relationship between marijuana and other drugs to call marijuana a gateway drug is only there because of marijuana being prohibited and it's lumped in with those other drugs.
Yeah,
if
right.
marijuana is
Don't forget
legal,
your
then
bad
it's not
face.
a gateway drug.
Well, and it's
like the
Schedule
fact that it
1.
is illegal. Yeah, like
It's insanity.
all of the arguments against marijuana are secretly just unintentionally arguments against marijuana criminalization. Like
Right,
everything
right.
bad about it. It's like you're giving money to the drug lords, the cartels. It's like, yeah, well, if it's legalized, then the money doesn't go there.
Exactly.
Every single
1,000%.
thing that
Like,
you
what
can
happened to
mention that's like a bad
prohibition?
thing about it.
I
Like,
think
oh,
one of
it's
the
getting
best
into the
things-
hands of the kids.
Like,
Like, yeah,
alcohol
if it's
became, like,
if it's
a
legal,
modern
then kids won't get it as easily.
Exactly,
It's easier
right.
for a kid to get marijuana than it is to get alcohol.
You're
Because
absolutely right.
drug dealers don't give a shit about checking kids' IDs. But if you're like an actual regulated business, then you're going to want to give a shit about checking IDs and making sure it doesn't go to kids. Fucking
Also- Yeah, I
Stephen
think what
Harper,
happened
like,
in, like,
the
the
old
1920s
conservative prime minister before Justin Trudeau, one of
Yeah.
his quotes was like, he literally just defended keeping marijuana illegal. Like, I don't want my kids to have it. My kids shouldn't have marijuana. What, you want to give my kids marijuana? It's like, no one's making the argument to make it legal for children. Like,
Yeah, exactly. Right.
like it's
I had it.
your kids are more likely to have marijuana if it's illegal, and that's backed up
Right.
by statistics too. Like every
know,
place
again,
where it's
like,
been
all of this is
legalized,
reminded-
youth marijuana usage goes down.
Yep.
Like
Yep.
it's
Yeah.
really funny.
It's also not
All of
cool and
this is,
sexy
like,
anymore, which
reminding me
helps.
of what
Okay.
happened during
I
Prohibition.
have another Utah story. So it's very conservative here. So every time anything is brought up about marijuana, like to legalize it, people get freaked. And it was the time around Halloween when we were passing a bill to make it, legalized for medicinal uses. and parents were freaking out, saying like, "Oh, but what if they give our kids edibles?"
Like, everyone wants to give your kids
baskets.
expensive ass edibles. We get that every Halloween. It'll be like, parents, watch out, make sure your kids aren't getting weed edibles. It's like, those aren't cheap. I'm not.
Yeah, why would
Yeah.
you do that?
Like, oh no, they're sneaking alcohol into my kids' candy because it's legal.
Here,
Well,
kid,
the
have
other
this.
thing is like,
if the
I'm gonna
kids
hang
go
out
to
at
the wrong
home,
house,
just
they're
know,
gonna
like, being
get,
happy
like,
about the fact that I know
heroin.
some kid somewhere stripping, but like, I don't even get to see it. Like, what's the point?
That's like somebody handing a kid a wine bottle.
It's
like, "Here,
still
kid, this has
illegal
been
to drug a
aged
child,
1,000
even if the
years."
drug
Exactly.
itself is legal.
Well, so
Well,
Denver
like-
doesn't change anything.
Denver
Like,
just
people are like,
decriminalized
"Oh,
mushrooms,
no, my
and
children
Oregon
go to the
decriminalized like
wrong house."
everything. And
Sorry.
so
Yeah.
I had a guy.
Go
was
Oregon.
Yeah, go Oregon, seriously. But some guy was telling me about how he's like, oh, well, you know, I don't want people out there driving, you know, who are high on mushrooms. And it's like just like you said, Adam. It's like alcohol's legal. People aren't supposed to drink and drive either. You know, like that doesn't change anything.
Yeah,
we're not,
like
we're not advocating.
It's
for
still
driving while
illegal
high.
to
People do it
operate a
all the
motor
fucking time,
vehicle
man.
under the influence of any substance.
Of anything, right?
Yeah.
Not to
like
mention,
fucking
I also,
Ambien,
like,
you know?
I
Like,
dare you to try to get the willpower to drive when you're high on shrooms.
that's not a real dare.
I was like, where are you trying to go?
Yeah. Fucking
So,
Hunter S. Thompson would do it.
Someone mentioned Hot
Yeah.
Topic
I've done it.
earlier, and that
I-
reminded me. So I've seen some new pictures of like Jared Leto's new Joker.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it looks like
What
he's
do we
ripping off
think?
Keith Ledger.
We
What do
live in
we
a
think?
society.
It's amazing.
Literally looks
Doing
like
a new Joker? I thought
No,
he was
no,
doing the
Jared's the
same,
same
one
one.
from
Is he the
before.
same character or not?
Yes, he is. He's the
He's the
exact
same
same
guy.
characters.
Yeah, it's almost
Okay.
the same.
Here's the
He's
deal.
just
I
like
think,
he's
so
just
what-
more metal now.
where we see
then
him,
retcon
yeah,
long
less
hair.
Cholo. Where we
long
see
hair.
him
This is so
in that trailer.
stupid.
I
Like
Yeah,
out
like
of all of
Snyder
the things to
fanboy.
like double down on, and just but still change also at the same time.
Okay,
It's
well,
so weird.
Here's a
It's
question.
like
Here's a
Snyder
question.
we're bringing
fanboys
back
are like-
Jared, but we're changing
like-
him
All right.
Here's a
slightly.
question,
Like something
though.
I'd
Like,
see on
something
Alvin
that's really
Martin.
funny is
It
that,
wasn't
like,
the performance
Snyder-
that was wrong. It was the makeup, clearly.
yeah.
Is-
Do you guys think that Jared Leto's performance in that movie was a result of his acting talents or the director? Or
I
a bit
won't.
of
I won't say
both?
his talents. I'll say he made bad choices.
Yeah.
I want to
Right.
say
It was
Because he's
clearly
a good
like
actor.
his
He's
thing,
capable of a
is what it
lot.
seemed like.
But he did.
It was
dumb
clearly
shit,
Jared
like
Leto's,
setting
like,
condoms
he
and
lo-
rats to
He
people.
loved
Yeah,
it.
that
Yeah.
was weird.
Petty
That
pranks.
was fucking
Yeah.
weird.
Someone said earlier, I'm a little confused. Did someone say earlier that like he actually says we live in a society in the trailer?
Yes, he
literally
He
said we
does.
live in a
Absolutely
society,
does say
yeah.
we live in a society.
Oh,
Isn't that weird?
First
God.
thing he says.
Just for
first
the
thing he
memes.
says at the end.
I'll
It's
Zack
admit
like
Snyder's got
so
jokes.
weird
Okay,
to
this
double
meme is officially
down.
dead. We're killing the meme.
No, here's the problem.
Yeah,
the meme
like,
was already
Snyder
dead like a year
fanboys
ago.
Are like,
Yeah.
people
Yeah, the
people
meme's
who
dead.
don't like the "we live in a society" thing are so hypocritical because they find it funny when it's used in a meme, but are like mad when it's like.
Yeah, it turns out
said by
memes
the
and movies aren't
Joker.
the same
but,
thing.
But
Yeah.
yeah, they're not the same thing.
The
Neil-
instant
Neil
a
is
meme
stupid.
goes like mainstream in any way, it fucking dies.
But
Like
how
Rick
much worse is it
Roll
when the meme was
commercial.
already dead for a year?
When he
The
says
instant
we
a
live in a-
politician uses a meme.
Oh yeah, or
The
anything.
absolutely most grotesque.
Wait, when he says that,
Yeah.
Or when you get invited onto Ellen.
Yeah,
When he
remember
says
when
that,
Hillary
fucking-
whipped a Nade?
Yeah. When
That
Ellen
made
DeGeneres
that
is
made
like,
it
"Damn,
even
Danny."
cooler.
God.
The absolute
but-
worst
hey,
way
what
for a
if-
meme to die is to be in an episode of Family Guy.
Oh yeah.
Well, I mean, Family Guy created it.
There was that one scene in Sonic where he was doing like the fucking.
The flops.
Olive
He
Garden.
did
Yeah,
it twice. He did it twice.
He
Nice.
does it
Yeah.
twice.
Hey, what if
He
what if
did
they
two.
did-
He did
Doesn't he do it in
I-
Shazam as well?
Instead of
Or,
watching.
You what?
Yeah, he did floss and shit.
Oh yeah, he did it.
What
as
about
well.
like the Sonic meme being in Sonic? Because I thought
Really?
that
That
was
was the
kinda
worst
funny.
part of Shazam.
The Sonic part.
Sonic
Yeah.
is in.
Oh,
Like,
that
the
was
Sonic
Sonic,
drawing.
Yeah, the
Like
drawing,
somebody
the guy.
tries to draw
But that's like
Sonic,
an
but then
in
it's Sonic.
thing.
Ha,
Yeah,
ha,
it's
ha.
like an
It was funny, even though it's.
I
like,
love
still a meme and-
Sonic.
But by that, the problem with that though is
Yeah,
that
go
that's kind of
fish.
we live in a society is kind of an in thing with the Joker too, because that's used almost exclusively with like Joker
Right.
pictures.
Right.
Yeah, I
And
was
for
gonna
some
ask.
reason the Sonic thing didn't piss me off as much as the we live in a society thing.
I mean, the
And-
whole
and
thing
yeah,
about
it's
we
Snyder,
live in a
you've seen that
society.
Seriously.
Well,
it's
like the
just
Sonic thing was taken
cringe.
as a joke, while we live in society is like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like they're going
Yeah.
for two different genres too. Is like
Yeah.
Right.
that's a punchline in the Sonic Sonic movie. In
Mm-hmm.
the Zack Snyder's Justice League, it's supposed to be a serious film at the same time. So it's like it misunderstands that the meme is used in a mocking, condescending tone. Right?
Exactly.
We live in a
We live in a
society. It's not a meme being like, "Wow, such inspirational quote here," right? It's trying to be a mockery of the quote.
It's supposed to be a stupid fucking quote.
Yeah. So for that to show up in the movie is just a bad sign.
Yeah, like Snyder wants people to be like, that meme from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, where like Leonardo DiCaprio's like, "Oh, he said this thing."
Well, what it makes me think of is that
I would just
he
like to
insists so heavily that his movies are to be taken so seriously and they're so dark and gritty.
Yeah.
When
then they have like
when-
Jesse Eisenberg being dumb.
Well, but then it's like
And
if
he's
you
in
compare
the
it though to
Snyder
like
Cut.
Joker, like that's a movie that I think it invites me to treat it seriously. And I think a lot of the issues that people had are different kinds of. It was kind of more normal movie issues than you would have.
Yeah, people
with
were
the Snyder
saying it was
movie.
too close to Scorsese.
Well, but that's what I mean, though. That Scorsese movies invite you to take them seriously. Zack
Yeah.
Snyder will have guys dressed up in big, crazy outfits and stuff like that, punching each other and blowing buildings up, and then demand that you treat it like a Schindler's List.
Yeah, in fucking
Yeah, it's
Joker,
so
I
weird,
don't think
it's
I remember him.
conflicting.
I don't think I remember him saying in Joker like, "We live in a society, Murray."
He did say society, but
He said something.
They said it
does
in
say,
13 Reasons Why season 4 when Clay
society.
Jensen went on top of the car.
Oh my God, really?
Also, another thing,
He did
I'm
say
sure-
it.
like Sonic
said
already
that.
has like pre-established that it embraces memes in their PR and just
In their Twitter
culture
account,
as
yeah.
well. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure the Sonic Boom show referenced Chris Chan once or twice.
Yep.
Hell yeah.
That was funny.
He hates pickles. He hates pickles.
If
I have not watched much of Sonic Boom, but I've probably seen that episode multiple times. The misery parody.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Hmm.
Actually,
So going back to Marvel, I heard that the new Doctor Strange. Yes.
It would explain a lot.
Yeah, Doctor Stone's part of MCU. Doctor Strange is, I think, like the new sequel is supposed to be like a horror film.
Directed by Sam Raimi.
So they
The
say.
new mutant.
So it's
So
supposed to be the multiverse. So like whatever.
Yeah,
they're gonna
Multiverse of
do with
Madness.
that.
Yeah.
It's
I didn't hear the horror film part, but I heard the Sam Raimi part, so I don't know.
Supposedly it's
Apparently,
like
WandaVision.
if it
I
is
have some
horror, that'll
theories
be
on how
interesting to see
WandaVision's
how
gonna connect
Marvel
to it.
Yeah, for
will pull that
sure.
off.
Because
I'd like
It's
a
WandaVision
new
like-
Sam Raimi
It's
horror
so
movie.
weird because it feels like, as I said earlier, all you have to do to make any movie is just make it related to Marvel shit. So it's like, it's not even the superhero genre anymore. It's like, we're just making straight up like horror movies. There's probably going to
That's a
be
good
like
idea.
some Nazi World War II movie, like, and everything about it is the same as like anything you'd make in the genre, except like you just throw a Marvel character in and then it's instantly successful. And
All
it's
movies will be
strange
Disney
that
movies.
this is
$1
what it
billion.
takes to get people
Just about.
interested in a movie, but
Well, I mean, they're two
I
feels
guess this
weirdly
is
reminiscent
how
of
it
the
goes.
Charlie Kaufman.
I'm getting flashbacks of like J.J. Abrams being like, "Hey, let me just change the last 10 minutes of 10 Cloverfield Lane." And he
Yeah.
gave that
Yeah,
title.
yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I think one of the problems is that the Disney and those guys have such massive marketing budgets that people just at least know about those movies. And I think that there's more good movies coming out that people would watch if they knew, but especially in a world where increasingly people aren't watching like live television with commercials anymore. It's just kind of like, yeah, it doesn't get in front of your face. Like I feel like everyone who's going to go see Saint Maud are people who are already A24 stans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
True.
A24 is like the only studio that's like actually trying to do something kind of.
There's a couple, but A24
I mean,
is
there
definitely
are
doing a
other
good job.
studios as well, obviously, that are like that.
They're
Someone made a good
the
poster.
only studio where I could see like a horror film coming out and think that might be good.
Orion is doing okay.
Yeah, me too.
They're like number 2 for me. They did like Gretel and Hansel, and they did
Oh.
the
Oh
other
yeah,
Lamb.
Gretel and Hansel is from the director of like the Black Coat's Daughter.
It is.
If
It's
you remember
Oz
that
Perkins.
Movie, Adam. Yeah, Oz Perkins. It's
I'm
the
aware
son
of it.
Perkins' son.
Yeah, the
I
son
like
of
his
Homie
movies.
from
They're not for
Norman
everyone,
Bates.
though.
Gretel and
Jar
Hansel.
Jar Abrams.
Oz Perkins. I didn't watch it. Should I see it?
Which one?
Well,
Gretel and
people
Hansel?
said it's trying
Should I
really,
see it?
Really, really hard to be artsy.
Looks like
Okay.
The
It's-
Witch.
Here's the deal. It's like
Yeah,
a
people
slightly
saying
worse
it's,
The
like,
Witch.
ripping
It's
off-
got
Okay,
it's-
I tried watching The Black Coat's Daughter and got frustrated and gave it a 4 out of 10,
Oh,
but I
that's
don't
funny.
remember
I love
anything
it.
about it.
I love that
How?
movie.
How's
Okay.
the
like
launch?
Very
Has
slow,
anyone
though.
Seen that?
I've been meaning to, but I don't know.
What movie?
The
The
Black
Light.
Coat's Daughter. Oh, which one? I'm
Oh, I
sorry.
liked it. It's again, it's one of those things where you might hate it or love it, or
Which one?
you know.
Yeah, I've heard some people like comparing it to Saint Maud, kind of. You know, even though they're both kind of different.
They both
At
deal
least
with
they
like
appear
religious
different.
themes.
Well, and
Yeah,
the
that's
Black
what
Star
has
did
seen
something really
Saint Maud.
interesting.
I
with
just
their
want to make
casting
sure so I don't
choices.
say anything.
It's an easy movie to spoil.
What is?
Sure.
What's an
Blackcoat's
easy
daughter,
movie?
anyway.
Yeah.
I don't remember anything
the
about
trailer
it.
doesn't give
I'm not going to
anything
try
away.
watching it again though.
Yeah, that's fair. I really dug it though. I was impressed. Well, I like the I appreciate the like methodical kind of slow dread building thing after so many years of the Conjuring movies.
Yeah, that's what I like about that director. He does
Yeah,
stuff
that's what
very
I
slow.
like about movies like The Witch and It Comes
Yeah.
at Night, even though that's not really a horror movie.
Well, it kind of is. The same way that
Yeah,
Blackcoat's
it
daughter
is.
and
It
stuff
leans
is.
into
But
thriller, I'd say.
It's not the same. It's not the kind of horror movie people were
Oh,
clearly
shit.
expecting.
Well, not that the trailer sold.
trailer-
The problem is the trailer sold a different movie.
yeah, the trailer literally makes it look like a Quiet Place clone.
Well, and
Yeah,
honestly,
that
it shouldn't be
trailer's
called
awful.
It Comes at Night. That's a ridiculous title for that movie.
Well,
I don't
maybe
know why
if
the
they
title is still
commenting
fine.
on-
I don't think the
Well,
title.
the
was
title,
bad.
but the title is misleading. I think. I think.
Yeah, it is.
I think the
Well, it's
trailer
just-
was more misleading than the title.
Well,
Honestly, it's really
That's why you just
annoying
don't watch
because
trailers.
I honestly really liked the poster with the fucking dog staring
yeah.
into the
No, it's
dark
good.
woods.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah,
Unironically,
that's a great
amazing
poster.
poster.
Oh, that's a great poster.
Good
It's that
poster.
dude
And
from
I think-
Possessor, right?
Well, no, like I think the guy who did Possessor was like Brandon Cronenberg.
No, the actor.
Oh.
The guy
maybe,
who
I don't know.
meets who's the main guy?
I
Joel
can't remember his name.
Yeah, Edgerton.
Oh,
The guy
yeah,
who meets
maybe.
Edgerton. I think he's also that kid from Possessor.
Oh.
I was like, hey, it's a poor man's Jon Snow.
Yeah,
Wait, no, it's not Joel Edgerton. Who is it?
What's up?
I was curious if you were familiar with the series Marble Hornets and what your thoughts on it were.
that's not on, like,
Is that
YouTube.
like a YouTube thing? I forget.
Yeah, it's like Slender Man.
Remember that?
Is
Well,
that
YouTube course,
fucking?
Like
Oh,
one
I'll have
of
to
those
look it
found
up.
footage type things. There's like 90 videos or something.
I
Yeah, I
just
think I
remember
might
hear-
have. Well, let's see. Let's see if any of this is something.
You should
that I
watch
watched.
Local 58 and Gemini Home Entertainment. Both those series are great.
I don't know if I've seen any of this. It doesn't look like I did.
It's really.
Hey, Adam, are you a Lovecraft fan?
I wouldn't call myself a Lovecraft fan, but I've enjoyed Lovecraftian things, I think.
I mean,
That's a
people
good
have
fan of
praised
his cat.
color. People have praised like
Oh,
color
no.
out of space for. People have praised like Color Out of Space for being faithful to the original Lovecraft short story.
It's just not very good, is the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like Color Out of Space
It
at
It
all.
sucked because
the
I was really rooting for Andy Stanley to like kick ass because he got screwed so hard in the
Richard
Isle of Dr.
Stanley?
Moreau. What did I say?
You said
You
Andy.
said Andrew Stanley.
Who's that's a
Richard
Christian
Stanley.
relationship advice guy.
There we go.
Yeah, Richard Stanley.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen a whole video on YouTube that kind of breaks down why it's like so difficult to adequately address like Lovecraftian themes in a film. Like there's so much attention paid to like the unknown element. Like the whole point is that you can't describe it. So the idea of visualizing it is kind of counterintuitive.
Well, I think there's like two different ways people approach it. I think that some people go for the, Cthulhu's going to show up at the midpoint or kind of thing. And you have a lot of those kind of Mansions of Madness kind of movies and things that kind of try to tackle that. And I think that's a hard one because like you said, the whole point is that when he describes things, he would be like, its voice sounded like the screams of 1,000 babies or whatever. Like it's always supposed to be things you can't describe. My ones that I prefer are when they're kind of the investigative. You never actually run into the Cthulhu, but you feel its presence in the town. There's cult activities.
What's
going
a
on,
good
like, people are
Lovecraft
going
book to
insane.
start with? Or novel or story?
I don't know.
Directly from him. I would probably start with his shorts. He has
Okay.
a handful of short stories that are a good way to kind of get the feel for what he's into, but he's not necessarily even like my favorite writer. But I do like that idea of like the old gods and old, because you see his fingerprints on everything. Even in like Hellboy 2, there's a good scene where Prince Nuada has like an egg or something, and he's like, you'll remember why your people are afraid of the dark, and this idea that there's like old monsters that are in our blood memory that you've kind of forgot about, and there's bigger
Remember
things in
I
the
had
galaxy
this.
that don't care about us. What's up?
I just remembered that I like got this not too long ago. It's like a whole book of like Lovecraft stories.
Okay.
You know, I'm interested in getting into them.
Yeah.
I have.
Well, I was going to ask you guys what your favorite like Lovecraftian influenced movies were.
The Lighthouse. Isn't
Yeah, I
that
fucking
supposed
love The
to be-
Lighthouse.
Yeah, we
Oh,
could
yeah, the
call it.
Lighthouse
that.
is awesome.
I think you totally can call it that.
Yeah.
In that case.
Okay, and on the subject of The Lighthouse, it had me sort of thinking how much a movie can derive from its influences without copying it. Like, if you compare The Lighthouse to Bergman's Persona, there are definitely a lot of overlaps, and it's clear that Robert Eggers was influenced by it. He even said so at TIFF.
Okay.
But it's like, it changes it enough. Like,
I guess it would be, yeah.
yeah, the genre is completely different. Persona, Adam, I don't know if you've seen Persona or not.
A long time ago. I would have to give it a rewatch.
I've kind of been
very interesting.
I've kind of been less of a fan of The Lighthouse as time's gone on, just because of like the hype has been like shoved into my face by my friends. I still think it's a very good movie though, but I do.
I
really,
think it's fantastic.
That's fair. I just don't think it's like the masterpiece that some people say it is. I do love The Witch. Though. I think that's a phenomenal movie, but
See, I think The Lighthouse actually is a fair amount better than The Witch. I think The Witch suffers from a little bit of like freshman movie issues.
Yeah.
There's points where I think that building tension is obviously preferable to a bunch of jump scares tied in a row, but I think that The Witch lingers into, it builds tension so far that eventually like you lose the tension because you're like, okay, nothing has happened in 45 minutes, nothing scary has happened in 45 minutes. So
And the sound
you kinda
design
get
in that
unscared
Lighthouse
again.
is much better as well.
Well, and I just think the
Like,
pacing of The
Lighthouse
is
is
better.
like also pretty short. It's what, an hour and 40 minutes.
50.
Oh,
The Witch, yeah, some say, yeah, that's
It
what I
feels
love
really
about
short.
it. I love how like
Snappy.
well,
The Witch
you-
is like the same.
I love how like accessible it is as far as these kind of bizarre and kind of confusing art house horror movies go. It feels very accessible because of like the humor and the character dynamics. It's all
Yeah.
like very entertaining, even if you don't really get the symbolism.
Yeah, if you're not the kind of person who gets driven crazy by not feeling like they understand what's going on, then yeah, it can be for pretty much anybody.
Speaking
Yeah,
of,
but it's still an enjoyable movie, even if you don't understand everything.
Well, I'm just saying,
that's
yeah, I
going
agree.
on.
I'm just saying that if someone's not really into artsy movies, but they don't get driven crazy by not understanding what's happening, then yeah, it can work out pretty well.
But with the Bergman thing, I want to say is that I don't really care about like influence and everything because I feel like within every movie or every like art in general, always going to be influenced by something.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
so I don't
for
really,
sure.
like, I don't.
Well,
really like
you
to
got to
criti-
think about. I think about the process as being like, what is it that got you to want to make movies in the first place? It probably was those things that inspired you, and it's going to be really hard to not have those influence you. You know, the whole point of making movies was you saw a Tarantino movie and you were like, oh my god, this is what I want to do, and then you're expected to not have any influences from
You know
Tarantino.
what my color cords are for my NES? They're the only things I don't have.
I have a question for everyone in a way, like, you know, if some
I
art like
have
copies
no
something else.
Where was
You said it's
Sorry, would you mind speaking
Sorry?
up a little?
I might have to
Yeah,
mute
it's-
somebody.
sorry.
Which,
Now you see the color cords that
yeah.
Hold on 1 second.
I don't have the color cords. I have no idea where they are.
All right, I
There you
muted.
go.
I know where the cords are.
Yeah. So like, you know, if today my friend said that, you know, he doesn't like Led Zeppelin as much simply because, you know, they did steal a lot from old blues artists. But I was saying, well, you know, but does that actually like affect how the music sounds to him? You know, like, I mean, if one of my favorite movies ended up copying a really old movie, it wouldn't make me like the movie less. I mean, I'd have less respect for the artist, but I mean, you know.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, the movie's
Yeah, I'm actually in the middle of like feeling conflicted about that right now because I'm finding out that Yoko Kanno, the composer of the Wolf's Rain soundtrack, has like an actual history of plagiarizing other people, which I didn't know about previously, and so I have yet to like fully dig into and go over that because I've just been busy. But sometime in the next week, I'll like look through some of the other examples of
You didn't mention
supposedly
that in your
plagiarized.
I did an
I didn't
oopsie
mention that
video.
in that video because I didn't know that yet.
An update, yeah.
Because why? Yeah, and also even if somebody did tell me that, I don't know, I'd probably want to look into it myself first before deciding that. But it does seem like really likely now that I know that, you know, there's that extreme similarity that I noticed from a song that existed pre-Wolf's Rain from apparently a very well-respected jazz musician that I was supposed to know the name of, even though I'm not a music review channel, but people got mad at me for that.
Yeah, people were like,
Anthony.
Adam, how could you not know the name of this jazz musician?
Like,
He's
very
so
well-respected
famous."
and influential. Like, I get it, but I don't go over to fucking music review channels being like, how could you not know of Abbas Kiarostami? Like, hugely influential Iranian filmmaker, for sure, but like, I don't expect them to know that. Anyway, yeah.
Adam in the shadows.
Can we like make room to have a one opinion about maybe the artist and then a different opinion about the art?
Exactly.
But
Separate
I
it
don't
from
know,
artist,
because the
exactly.
plagiarizing aspect does kind of influence the art as well. It's not just about the artist.
I was gonna
Right?
say, I think the argument could be made that like in that set of circumstances, you like the original. Like it's just being presented to you from a different like.
Unless the original is actually like different enough that you do think that the newer thing is better.
Well, yeah, and that
If it's different enough, then it's not really plagiarism.
Exactly.
Well,
There's a lot of point. It's like if you were to make a compilation on YouTube, and you can like the video that's in the compilation, that doesn't necessarily mean, that you are liking the artwork of the person who made that compilation. You're liking the artwork of the original. So in that circumstance, you can still like it. You're just not liking what you think you like.
But actually, I think that there's more gradient in between those two areas, though. I think that there can be different enough that you can't call it plagiarism, and then there's a different enough that you still pretty much have to call it plagiarism, but it is also not exactly the same. So, for instance, like the John Williams score, a huge portion of it for episode 4 is very similar to The Planets by a guy whose name I can't pronounce. And I think it's
what?
What's that?
Episode 4 of what?
Oh, Star Wars.
Oh.
Yeah, so the John Williams score is pretty widely like accepted as basically being kind of a ripoff of the planets, especially
Is that though? Because like, so I haven't heard these comparisons before, but what would make or break my impression of somebody being like an actual plagiarizer is if they had like a repeated history of something. So like the whole Yoko Kanno, Bill Evans thing, like if that was just a one-off instance and apparently, like then it would be like, okay, I don't know, maybe coincidence or something. Sounds suspiciously similar just based off of like how those two sections independently are replicated in the exact same way. Like that's pretty sus, right? But like if there's a history of somebody doing that and it's like there's a lot of tracks that sound suspiciously similarly, and as far as I know, there's not that there isn't that sort of accusation being made against John Williams, as far as I know.
No,
like,
there's not. It's just that one soundtrack.
Yeah. So and like the way that music works, like there are patterns in music that exist before they're written anyway.
Right, but these
depending
are
on
close.
what kind of song you're making, how atypical you're making your composition.
Yeah,
like
issue
things
Hans
are.
Zimmer has, like the Pirates soundtracks and the Gladiator soundtracks are pretty shockingly similar too.
I mean, there's
And that's normally the defense is that it's like,
yeah.
there's just only so many kind of sounds.
Well, yeah, I mean, the same thing applies to comedy. I mean, like if you see a comedian who has like a history of saying a lot of the same jokes that other comedians have made,
Right,
then
Carlos
like,
Mencia.
they're plagiarizing. But I mean, you can come up. I mean, comedy is observational. You can come up with a joke that someone else has already come up with.
You
In
can
fact,
make the same observation.
quite likely.
Well, it has to be, otherwise no one else will relate to the joke in the first
Yeah,
place.
Yeah,
like
it
that
was so
South
weird
Park
when I was
episode
first starting
Simpsons
out.
was a big factor.
It's like that South Park episode Simpsons did it, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I was first starting out on YouTube, there was like somebody who got really passionately angry at me, saying that I stole a criticism from Red Letter Media on their After Earth review, because the line from them was something along the lines of like, yeah, he's like just ejaculating success or something, or no, they said like he's shooting them out from his loins, and there was a line in my review where me impersonating Will Smith said, I can mass produce superstars with my dick, right?
Oh,
and
okay.
that alone was apparently some sort of like he was like harassing me on Twitter over it. Like it was really weird. Like he wouldn't stop. Like it was so bizarre. But yeah, it's like my argument to that was just like, yeah, I mean, like we're reviewing the same movie. We might have some similar observations. I didn't even watch the Red Letter Media review before making mine.
Well, especially with how intense
and
and
then
deep your
I pointed
review
out that
was.
like in my oh, what was it? There was like, oh yeah, they did like a follow-up sort of thing, like that was posted after my review or something. I don't remember the exact chronology, but there was something in my review that was before something that they said. And it was like after birth or something. Like there was that joke. And I think my mom made that joke in the video. I don't remember.
So your
But
mom
then
watches
like it
Red
showed
Letter
up in the
Media?
Red Letter Media thing after chronologically. I'm like, did they steal my shit? It's
Ooh.
like, I don't know. It's like,
Yeah, go
obviously
get 'em,
not.
so-
Yeah.
Well, I
It's
get
just
that about-
people
I
with
talk
similar
about-
humor, you know.
When I talk about movies in with edited, clips or whatever, and like I've gotten multiple people who are like, "Oh, you're just ripping off every frame of painting," and it's like, first off, they've been gone for like 5 years, and they can't, and they don't own that whole idea of like talking about movies over videos, like it's so goofy.
I mean,
Yeah, Lessons from the Screenplay is another popular channel that does that, and nobody accuses them of ripping off
Nerd
every
Writer,
frame
there's a
of
million
painting.
of those like
There
videos.
are a whole lot of movies. There are a whole lot of movies that I really love that a lot of people, have like considered to be like plagiarism or like say that are very similar to others. But I just feel
I'm
that
trying to think of one.
Sorry.
Got it. What? Nothing.
Well, I just feel like at the end of the day, we're all just trying to have this stream of filmmaking, and I think they did it. So that's it's really hard to make a movie. So I try not to be too critical in lines of that.
Relating to just like things being similar, I watched Black Swan recently, and I'd seen Perfect Blue.
Yeah. Yes.
And
Darren
even-
Aronofsky bought the rights.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but even even ignoring that, I just think the similarities between the two, it's like Satoshi Kon didn't invent this idea. I'm not going to spoil it because it's
Mhm.
and it's a twist within both movies, but it's just like these aren't like super original ideas, so I don't know
Right.
how it's just there's
It's how
there's
they're
probably
presented.
inspiration, but it's not like Darren Aronofsky was taking away from any sort of potential purchases or whatever of Perfect Blue.
So someone brought up earlier that the music or the score for the Gladiator and Pirates of the Caribbean were similar, and I was going to say that that's because Hans Zimmer composed for both of those films.
No, that's what I was saying. Is that like the defense of him was that he, because people were like, oh, he's just reusing this stuff, and it's kind of like, well, there's just like themes and motifs that you kind of get in your head, and it's hard not to. I mean, I think you see that with a lot of directors too, just in their films. You'll be like,
Well,
yeah, they kind of hit the same, beats.
Well,
here
in Hans
and-
Zimmer's case, it's very similar whenever like a Jerry Bruckheimer is involved, I think.
How so?
I have to go to work.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of fucking
Thanks for hanging
sucks.
out.
No, I take that back. I think
it's a-
that's just the Pirates of the Caribbean films.
Okay.
I'm just being
It's a
retarded.
fucking. It's a 4-hour shift, and these usually last like 3 hours. So
No problem.
I came back. I was here in like the September hangout.
I
Can I
remember.
just ask one thing before I peace
Sure.
out? Did you watch Indian Horse yet?
Indian Horse. No, I didn't watch that yet.
Fuck sakes. All right, well, peace out.
All right, have a good one.
Later.
Yeah, take it easy.
In a similar vein, I kind of have to go too. Sorry, I hate being that
Sure.
guy, but I did real quick. Kind of wanted to put this into the ether because we were talking about it earlier, and I thought it'd be really interesting. We're talking about Lovecraftian stuff, and I think it'd be. I always try to think of ways that movies could kind of push the medium and become like really innovate. And I was thinking it'd be really interesting if a film could find a way to essentially be a new experience every time. Like if there was a procedurally generated scene, like one scene that was totally different every time you viewed it. It would have to be like an online film, obviously, because otherwise that wouldn't work. And then the other thing I wanted to ask Adam specifically was, I know in one of your guilty pleasure lists, you brought up Sweeney Todd. And I'm currently in a production called Assassins. It's also, the music is also written by Stephen Sondheim.
Okay.
And it's really interesting. I think it's an amazing show. And because we're in quarantine and all that stuff, we're actually filming it. And don't get me wrong, it is not going to be Broadway level. It's going to be, I think it'll be good. But I was just wondering, I don't want to waste your time, but is that something, if I sent you, you might be interested in seeing? It's a really good music is what I love about it. The music
Sent
is-
me like a recording of the
Like,
stage
if I were-
performance.
Yeah, like, so we're doing some of it on site, like filmed like a film. and then we're doing like the choreography and stuff. We're just filming the stage, but yeah. So essentially, it would be a filmed version of a stage performance.
You can send it to me, but I can't make promises that I'll fit into my
I
schedule.
wouldn't expect you to. I'm just saying, like, if you are completely uninterested, I just wouldn't bother.
It's something I could probably see, but
okay.
Yeah, I can't. I couldn't make any promises to like prioritize it or anything.
Absolutely not. And I mostly just because you had voiced interest in Sweeney Todd, it's the same composer, so
okay, awesome.
Similar motifs and stuff like that, but
yeah,
anyway.
my roommate's really obsessed with Sweeney Todd.
Oh yeah. Well, thanks everyone. Have a good one.
Thanks for joining.
Bye.
Bye.
Adam, you said that Sweeney Todd's your favorite Tim Burton, right?
Yeah, but I haven't seen Ed Wood, and I don't know if I've seen Edward Scissorhands. If I did, it was like when I was a lot younger.
Adam, Nightmare Before Christmas, man.
Sorry, what?
That's not Tim
but
Burton.
no, he didn't direct that.
Yeah,
He didn't
that's
direct
true.
that.
Yeah, never mind.
Yeah.
That was Henry Selick.
I always get confused because it's called Tim
okay,
Burton's Nightmare
I
Before
know,
Christmas.
right?
Now I remember, Adam, you were saying like what you considered the best, at least maybe not your personal favorite, and you said you would have considered Nightmare Before Christmas his best if it was directed by him. That's
Sure.
what I remember, at least it was on your
Okay,
Blu-ray
yeah.
collection, I think.
Yeah, I probably would, but he didn't direct it.
Yeah, I think
He's
out of all the
responsible
Tim
for a lot in it, obviously, but
Yeah, I think out of all the Tim Burton films I've seen, I think Edward Scissorhands has to be my favorite just because Johnny Depp's in it.
Me too.
Yeah.
I mean, out of it, I'm a huge Johnny
I mean,
Depp
he's
fan.
in every Tim Burton movie.
Yeah,
Pretty
him and
much,
Helen.
Yeah, Wonderland. That was a weird one.
Like 8 out of
Charlie
his,
and
like,
the
12
Chocolate
movies.
Factory.
Oh yeah, he did that one too. That was also, I don't know, which is
Or-
weirder of the two, Charlie and the
almost
Chocolate Factory or
tried
Alice
all
in
of them.
Wonderland?
Charlie has like way more creepy pedophile.
I never saw either of those.
Yeah.
I feel like their
Yeah, Willy
intentions
Wonka
are
was so
different.
bizarre in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I don't know
Red
if
Letter
I
Media
like,
has a
like
really
Burton-
good
my
breakdown
like
of like what the old
interpretation.
movie did well that the new one screwed up.
That might make a fun.
Like the old
commentary.
movie had some
The new one's,
creepy
like,
moments.
disturbing.
Don't get me wrong.
I love Gene Wilder's Willy Wonka.
It's just a much tighter,
Oh, yeah.
better made movie. It also, the Willy Wonka reminds me a lot of the Pocahontas versus Lion King thing, where
Yeah.
Willy Wonka was like wildly under budgeted and they basically barely had a script, and I think a pretty superior product came out of it.
Yeah.
Yes.
I do like with the Johnny Depp version. I do like Christopher Lee's portrayal of the dentist and just how he says lollipops. Always cracks me up.
Yeah, it's not
Yeah,
unforgivable.
yeah.
I think very
Walter
few at a certain budget are completely like, there's nothing salvageable. I think there's very few of those. I think you have to get into like best of the worst territory before you start to get to be like, yeah, this is just completely pointless. But most movies that I hate, I can find at least a bit or a moment where I'm like, ooh, actually, it's funny. I've been wanting to do like work it into like as a bit in a podcast or something, where we bring up like bad movies that had like a really cool thing in it, where you're like, God damn it, they kind of wasted it on this movie. Now no one else can do it.
Yeah, I
It's gonna
kind
be
of
a
felt
rip-off.
that way. I kind of felt that way with like David Fincher's The Game. I thought most of the movie was interesting, but the last 10 minutes sucked so bad that it kind of ruined the movie.
I still haven't seen it. That's the only Fincher I haven't seen, I think.
It gets very
I'd recommend
dangerously
watching
into an
it.
area
I
that
think
every
it would
student is
even
told
like
to
be
do.
worth discussing on a Sardonicast just to like hear your
Perhaps.
thoughts about it.
Mm-hmm.
But it is interesting, but it's definitely flawed.
It's also a little weird for a Fincher movie too. It's not quite what you expect.
Yeah.
I feel like that too about what's that movie with
Hanks?
Kristen Stewart? No, old movie.
Panic Room.
Oh
Yeah,
Right.
that's
He said
another
they're
one
kinda
that you're
loud
like.
notes.
I found out years later that was Fincher because it just feels kind of bland for a Fincher movie. Also,
The
Dirty
filming
Dozen,
style's
like,
still there.
Yeah, people were
yeah,
saying that
color
like
palette and
Mank
stuff,
was boring. People were saying that like Mank was kind of boring and stuff, even though it was also Fincher and it was like well made.
You got to be careful of people
Like-
saying the word boring though, because people
Oh,
use that to
yeah,
describe
boring
any
is-
movie that doesn't have.
It's
Throw
a
that
pretty
around.
broad
Overgeneralized.
term.
It's
Well, and it's
overused.
used every, because like the assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford is pretty widely considered to be, just this very slow, boring movie. But it's if you're not engaging with it how it wants you to engage with it, then yeah, it's going to come across boring if you're expecting it to be like American Outlaws.
I was a little uninvested with. I was a little uninvested with the girl with the dragon tattoo, but it still had great moments. I think, like the scene with that. I forget what that song is called, but it's also plays in 8th grade.
Okay. I don't remember.
Not score music. It's like a soundtrack song.
Yeah, it's one of the soundtrack songs. I think that's one of its highest points. Is that
are you talking about? You're not talking about Orinoco Flow by Enya, are you?
Yeah.
Oh, you are? That's an.
I love that song.
That's what I love about
Sail away, sail away.
I just think that the way Fincher uses music is one of his was my favorite things about his movies.
Well, especially when he picked up because what's his face does a lot of the music. Atticus Ross and Trent Reznor do a lot.
Yeah, they're awesome.
They have a really cool sound for like
Gone Girl score. But I was about to say Gone Girl score.
Oh shit! Sorry. If I've looked like I've been absorbed into this for parts of this, it's because I'm looking at the Berlin Film Festival, and it looks like despite it happening pretty soon, I might actually be able to apply for press. And there's a good 5 movies in competition that I do want to see.
Is it in person?
What are they?
It looks like it's online for press.
But
we'll see what I can do. Actually, I'll have to look into it.
If I want to be able to apply for press, what should I be getting figured out ahead of time? Like, what's the minimum requirements?
I mean, yeah, like have a good photo of yourself and yeah, it'll like whenever you apply for press, there'll be like a form that says what you need, pretty much. You can just write a cover letter, just being like, here's who I am, what I do, why I like your film festival, sort of stuff, why I'm passionate about movies. Yeah.
Okay.
I pretty much just send the same thing every year. I just change the date.
That's good.
Yes. Yeah. And the name of the film festival I'm applying to.
You just put TIFF every time.
To converge a few things that we've been talking about over this past hour and a half almost, like musicals and art house horror and like these massive franchises. How familiar are you guys with the Barbie movies?
I watched
Barbie movie. Gerwig is gonna do like a Barbie movie.
So between
I watched Barbie and A Mermaid Tale, but that's
between 2001 and 2020, there were 37 Barbie movies.
And these I'm a Barbie girl in a Barbie world.
Barbie and the Nutcracker was like my childhood favorite movie but you rewatch it now and the animation is terrible.
Well, it's
it's a little bland compared to some of the other ones.
The animation
Barbie
looks
was
so
like my
cheap.
first
No wonder they made like 40 of these things.
Yeah.
It's like
Here's the
PS1
thing.
graphics.
As an older brother, watching all the Barbie movies is a rite of passage. Like we have a shit ton of Barbie DVDs in our basement, and it's our biggest conversation piece.
All right, I guess I missed all of them.
Oh, that's so sad.
You're not missing much.
I did not see Barbie in the Nutcracker. I saw advertisements for these things when I was younger. I remember seeing ads for them.
Fucking Tim Curry is in so many of them.
Oh yeah, he's the ratkin in the Nutcracker.
Damn.
Yeah, he was my favorite part of
Barbie
that
as
movie.
Rapunzel. I'm gonna watch a trailer for this. This looks really.
Oh,
funny.
Barbie as Rapunzel.
Oh, that was my first. That's how I found out what Rapunzel was.
I got a hot take. Barbie Fairytopia is on par with Synecdoche, New York.
No.
What about Princess
You
and
know
the
what?
Pauper?
You've convinced me.
Dude,
Princess
you should
and
make
the
you should make a
Pauper is
comparison
really
video.
good, but it's a little overrated in my opinion.
For people who aren't
Damn.
too familiar with the
What
Barbie,
year is this?
the Barbie franchise, something I really like about the Barbie movies is that they are obviously there to sell Barbie toys.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, yeah.
there are
Remember,
30
every time a
Barbie
movie would
movies.
come out, you would play a commercial for the new toys.
Yeah.
Well, it's also
And
like
Mattel makes
the
so much money.
There
off
are
the toys in
commercials
these
you pay
movies.
for
It's
their
like the Joel
commercials you
Schumacher
buy.
Batman movies. It was like, hey, we need to have this many wardrobe changes because we're gonna have sell different toys, and you need to have an ice vehicle so we can sell that, you know.
And it's like the movie like Vegas Vacation. I think it was like the final one of those National Lampoon Vacation movies, and it was literally just like a 90-minute ad for Las Vegas. Yeah,
I would
this
really
looks so strange. Just the animation quality is really dated, obviously.
Yeah.
Right.
Because it was always straight to DVD anyway, right?
Well, and they were all
Yeah,
together
yeah.
to just sell
Yeah.
toys. The Barbie name is just so big already.
Yeah.
Now they're having issues because they're trying to like rebrand.
For
those
Because now it's like they're problematic or something.
Exactly right.
For those who haven't seen any Barbie movies, I would especially recommend Barbie as Rapunzel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Barbie
It
the
was-
Princess
it had a
Diana.
good
I
cast of
will add it to
characters.
my watch list.
That wasn't my
Yes.
I can't.
Colin, do an
believe
Adam
it.
and Pals on it. Do an Adam and Pals.
Is it that though? Is it so funny?
It's pretty good. I managed
They're
to.
pretty
I
funny,
managed to
I
get
have to
Frederick
say.
Dustin to
Really?
watch one of them with me.
Yeah.
The Down the Rabbit Hole guy, and we had
There's
a
a-
great time.
Okay.
Drew Gooden keeps torturing himself and watching the like Netflix Hallmark competitor like Christmas movies. I can't imagine that those are like so bad that they're good. They just seem very bad.
Oh, they're
like kids sing
so bad they're
kind of
good.
thing.
I watched one on Christmas with some friends.
And it
Very
was
enjoyable.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I watched
So-
the Intermingle the movie.
You gotta
So
see,
to this day, sorry.
Switched princesses. Was it like the Princess Switch?
There's
or
two of them.
Twin
Yeah, there's the Princess
Princesses?
Switch again or whatever.
Yeah, no, but they had a second one, and now there's 3 Vanessa Hudgens.
Yeah, the third one is the Christmas
and
or the night
it makes
before
no sense
Christmas or
'cause
something.
The third one is her cousin, but she also acts like she's a twin with the other 2.
No,
that
Vanessa
was
Hudgens
the
is
last
the
thing
new.
I expected to hear today.
What is it? The chick who played DJ from Full House has been in like 50 freaking or like 14 Hallmark Christmas movies, and so has the girl from
That's
like
funny.
the girl who looks like Jennifer Love Hewitt but isn't her. I think she was in like Not Another Teen Movie and stuff, but she's like number 2. She's in like 14 or something like that. It's insane. And so Vanessa Hudgens is becoming like the third of that, but for the Netflix side, where it's like every year I'll just be in a movie.
Yeah, Adam,
I
I
have
have
a
a question.
contract for like
Sure.
8 movies.
I was curious if you were going to review Malcolm and Mary at some point.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if I will because I talked about it at length on the most recent podcast episode that's not out yet. And I think I communicated myself in the best possible way in that podcast, and I don't know if I could review it, but the review wouldn't be as good as just listening to me talk about it on the podcast.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I
is that
forgot
movie?
about this
Is that like the same conclusion you arrived to of Run, Hide, Fight? I mean, that's fine if you did.
Yeah, well, not really, because if I did, the problem with Run, Hide, Fight is that for me to review that movie in the way that I think would be best to justify the review, it would take more time than I have right now.
Was it
Yeah,
factual
okay.
and logical?
Yeah.
Adam destroys his haters with facts and logic.
Yeah, exactly.
I just thought it was really repetitive and just wasn't as serious as I thought it was being. But it still has some
Run, Hide,
moments.
Fight?
Well, it's the same
No,
problem.
of course not. From Malcolm and Mary.
I've heard that it's
Yeah, I
just
saw
like
the trailer and
director
it looked kind of
ranting.
pretentious.
It looks like the
And I know
argument
that's a
fight
word
from
that's
Marriage
like
Story,
thrown
but it's
out
an hour and a
around a
half.
lot.
Yes, Marriage Story comparison is probably the best
Yeah.
comparison. I
Yeah, people said it's like
Marriage
Marriage
Story was
Story
better.
but worse.
That's
Just
the,
the
Well,
fact
it
that
looks like it's just the argument scene, but like a feature-length version of the argument.
preach.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Pretty
Well,
much.
yeah, it's like
Did they
Marriage
not-
Story, but we had to do it during COVID, so we only had access to the smallest amount of whatever. At the time. Although simultaneously, the freaking COVID 23 movie came out, and that is a pretty big movie.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, the reason why so many people like host that COVID, Zoom movie was because they were like, "Ooh, everybody got to set up their own locations," and they were actually doing it over Zoom. That's how low
It's the
budget it had to
movie we
be.
No, I didn't mean
They
that
were
one. I
in
meant the
lockdown.
Michael Bay movie.
It's just
Songbird, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Adam, can I ask you
Yeah, what's
something?
up?
Well,
Sure.
well, so last night I watched the Lion King 2, Simba's Pride, and I know that you have feelings about it, and I was wondering if you could elaborate on those.
It's bad. It's terrible. It's
Some people say it's like
the
"Ooh, it's
animation
Romeo and
sucks.
Juliet."
It's like it's a terrible animation. It's a terrible story. They're constantly trying to inject ways to make it A, either relevant to the original, or B, try to recreate moments from the original. And there's so many like beats and elements of it that are just like, oh, here's where we do this scene from the original, and it's like so much worse every time, and it's so embarrassing, and it has just its own existence of its attempts to recreate these things are about in the same vein as embarrassment of Jon Favreau's complete misunderstanding of the original film.
Or like the last 30 minutes of Dr.
Like the
Sleep.
Saturday
watched
morning
the
cartoon
Lion
people
King.
making all of those because Aladdin 2 is atrocious. You know, all of those.
They were
sequels are
straight to
just-
DVD
Yeah,
or VHS,
yeah.
I guess.
They
at
were
the
all
time.
cash grabs. It
Yeah.
was Iger.
I remember watching
Bob
Lady
Iger
Tramp
realized that
2 when I was
that was just a
younger.
cash cow.
And being like, oh, this is awful.
Made money.
Have you ever seen the original Lady and the Tramp, Adam?
I don't know if I've seen the whole thing. I might have, probably, maybe, but I have no idea.
Well, you can watch it on Disney Plus without the racism.
Oh, they took that out now?
They took it out. Yeah, they took
Oh.
the whole thing out.
Hilarious.
What they do for what they do for Aristocats?
Is it racist?
Like it's like the
It's
They had that one
Netflix like
Asian character.
Chong scene.
They removed it.
yeah, it's
I
it's
forgot
like
about that.
Netflix taking
Yeah.
out like the 2 seconds of blackface in like this one Office episode, even though it clearly wasn't glorifying it.
They took out the
It's just-
blackface in the actually they cut the whole episode for Community. They had the
Didn't he cut out the
Still in the office.
the
Dungeons and
13 Reasons
Dragons.
Why scene
Yeah.
where Anna killed herself?
Wait, isn't Office?
Yeah.
No, they didn't take it out. They
Did they?
zoomed like way in. No, they modified it, so it's zoomed way in. When I did my review, of
What a
13
weird
Reasons Why,
decision.
I couldn't find.
Yeah, like
I had
the
to go on
music
YouTube
video
to
for
find it
Pearl
because they
Jam's
cut around it so
Jeremy.
heavily.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like the
so weird.
music
so you
video
can't see
for
anything.
Pearl
They cut it up
Jam's
really short.
Jeremy. So
Yeah,
when
this is one of the
put that-
downsides of like digital movie services, like
Yeah.
streaming and
Movies have
iTunes and all that.
DLC now.
Like,
so much
yeah,
easier
I would.
to
I don't like the
Or-
idea of patching a movie. I'd
Yeah.
rather just
Rest
have
in the
my
past.
Blu-ray.
I was gonna say
George
we're like
Lucas said.
we're
On the-
essentially releasing patches now.
That's what it is.
Yeah, like the way they censored this, like
That's so
that
weird.
13 Reasons Why episode kind of reminds me of the way like MTV like censored the music video for Pearl Jam's Jeremy, where they just did an extreme close up on his
Right.
face, like as
That's
he's about
basically
to
what they
kill
did,
himself, so you don't actually see him kill himself.
The
but
video
people
quality all
like
looks like
thought
crap,
he
too, 'cause
actually
they zoomed
shot
in.
other people instead. Like when they cut to his blood being like on other people, like critics were like, "Oh, he shot those other people instead." It was really
There's
What
funny.
an
movie?
episode of-
No,
The music
it's not a
video for
movie. It's a
Jeremy
music.
from Pearl Jam.
Yeah.
Oh,
Jeremy
There's an episode of Extreme History in Philadelphia where
Evil Dead all over again.
Yeah, it's
Adam, I got a
Disney.
couple
Disney's been doing it
questions,
a
if
lot
you
on
don't
Disney
mind.
Plus, and I honestly
Sure,
think
what-
that they're just. Oh,
what's
Yeah,
up?
yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, first of all, just for the record, I wasn't bashing Synecdoche, New York earlier. It's one of my favorite movies.
You don't have to clarify that. That's all.
Yeah,
right.
that's okay. I just sometimes get a little
Barbie
self-conscious about my
comments?
sarcasm.
Don't worry.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't worry about that with me. I'm good.
Thanks, I appreciate it. And secondly, do you plan on watching The Sparks Brothers by Edgar Wright?
I watched the first 20 minutes of it, and I did not abandon it because it was bad. I abandoned it because I had other things to watch, and as much as I enjoyed its initial kind of like comedic tone, and I liked the presentation, at the end of the day, it's another music documentary about a band that I'm not familiar with, and typically music documentaries are just not that interesting or engaging unless you like the band to begin with in the first place. There were
did
a
you see the
couple of those
Beastie
at
Boys
Sundance that I just had to
documentary?
stop because I was busy and doing other things, but like I'll probably I don't know, I'll probably never watch the whole thing even though it was good. Like if you like the Sparks Brothers, then watch it. If you are intrigued and want to know a bit about them, then watch it, I guess. Like I don't know, it just
Did
seemed
you
like
watch the Beastie Boys documentary directed by Spike Jones?
when was
You know,
that?
the
That's
guy-
like pretty
the
old,
guy who
right?
did Her.
Or is that new?
It's like-
That's like a new one, isn't it?
That's on Apple
brand
TV.
new.
Oh, I haven't
brand
seen
new, I
that. What's
think.
it called again? Like, yeah, they're like, I'll check these things out and see what they're like, but like, generally, music documentaries can only do so much to make me interested in a band that I don't care about
I feel like a lot
you
of
know,
them-
Do you like the Beastie Boys?
I like one song by the Beastie Boys a lot.
Which one?
Intergalactic.
Yes, exactly
Brass
that
Monkey?
one.
Intergalactic, hell yeah.
Adam, remember your feelings
Yeah, that's
on,
hilarious.
what's it called, like Room
I love that one.
223 or whatever, the Shining documentary?
Room 237?
Room
Yeah,
237.
people are like
Yeah.
praising that documentary because they're like, "Oh, the documentary is condemning these morons who have these conspiracy
No, it's not.
theories."
It makes
so
no
therefore
such
it's great."
distinction.
No, I saw it.
It's so stupid.
I need to see it.
So I saw it back in like 2013, and you put into words what I was noticing. I was like, there's something wrong with this documentary. I don't know what it is. And it's like, oh yeah, it's
so-
bullshit. It's just interviews with random crazy people. And
It's a documentary that doesn't try to do anything and is just essentially a collection of like fucking Skype conversations that he had with
Right.
crazy people.
with their kids in the background.
Yeah, I mean,
And it's
like,
so annoying.
one
That was
positive-
pre-COVID. He was making fucking
Yeah.
Skype documentaries.
Yeah, back in
like
And
there
it's
was
like
no
he doesn't
excuse
cut
for
out-
it.
review of what Room 237 says, "Don't watch this film and expect an authoritative critical analysis of The Shining. Watch it and explore the distorting drug-like pull that some art can exert on its audience." That's why people are
But it doesn't
afraid.
even
Go
try.
online.
Even
Just
if
read
that's
some
like, you
the
should
goal
like
of
it
the
because of
film, it
that.
doesn't do it well. Even if that's what it's trying to communicate, it doesn't do it well. And even if we were to ignore the intention of the documentary and whatever angle that it supposedly could be giving, even if that was irrelevant, it's still poorly made. It's using like really shit, like the Blu-ray of The Shining had existed like before this documentary was made. It was using like really shitty quality footage in the
Like
in the
YouTube
documentary itself. The conversations that were audio only from these people were just, I guess, just used in the film without any edits whatsoever. So you got like screaming kids in the background, and the guy's like, "Oh, wait for a second, I gotta calm down my kid." It's like, why is that in the documentary? You got one guy who's talking so slow. He's like, "So, did you
And they're like,
did you
"Oh,
know
it's so
that
quirky.
there's
It's so
like
quirky.
there's
Even
like
it."
one part in the movie where you know, like they say that everything's supposed to be like real, but there I think there's like one element of it, like it's audio only. Trim it fucking down. It's only you're not even showing the guy's face, and even if you were showing the guy's face at any other point in the documentary, if you were a competent editor, you could just show clips of the footage and not his face anyway. But there was zero excuse because you never saw it. All of the interviews were audio only, and they didn't trim it down. Every single piece of like information that these people gave, like, oh, you can see him in the clouds, and then the documentary just doesn't show that because you can't find it anywhere because it's not real.
Because it's not real.
Like that, it's not. Yeah,
like
if it was trying to be like, wow, look at how crazy people can get over a movie, then it might challenge them on these things. But instead, the documentary just kind of like, it might be there, it might not be. We didn't put in the effort to find out why. You know, like
And that's
it's just
just
it's
grasping
so
at straws,
lazy. It's like one of the laziest things I've ever seen. And the
I'm
fact
like,
that it's
Cooper
critically
put his
acclaimed
face in
is
his
just like
clouds anyway.
so
Yeah, it has
embarrassing.
a higher score in
Yeah.
Rotten Tomatoes than The Shining
So-
itself. Let me look at the average
What
critical
the
rating.
fuck?
Well, the
like
reason I
how-
bring it up is because I think that's how a
Rotten
lot of
Tomatoes.
music documentaries come across to me. A lot of them.
That's not what. Yeah, I don't know. There's two music documentaries from Sundance that were like obviously really good and really well made. There was one from fucking what's his name? It was like The Revolution Will Not Be Televised. What is his fucking name? Or it was like Summer of Soul was the documentary, I think.
Oh,
Yeah, there we go. Or The Revolution Will Not Be Televised. Questlove directed a documentary that won one of the awards at Sundance. And it was really, really cool and well made, but so much of it is just like basically just showing the concert, and that's not like, I don't know, if I want to watch a concert, I'll watch a concert. I'll buy a concert DVD. Like I'm more interested in like the narrative, of which that did exist in the film, in, you know, sprinkled here and there. But like, you know, I don't know. I watched it for like half an hour. I was like, well, I gotta watch some other things. And then same thing with the fucking what's his face? Why can't I remember his name? Documentary, British.
Edgar Wright?
Hot. Thank you, Edgar Wright's documentary, where it's like, man, you really made something that you're clearly passionate about. You love this band. There's a lot of interesting things about this band for sure, but I don't love this band. Not because I have any reason to not love them, but just because like I've never really been exposed to them, and I would have to like put a conscious effort into like investigating their catalog and being familiar with their music before I could begin to like care that much about the documentary.
I gotta be honest.
Have you ever heard
not
of
knowing?
Ween?
Sorry.
A band named Ween. I think they're kind of interesting.
Ween, yeah, they made a song called "The Homo Rainbow."
And they did a song called like the AIDS song or something. They are kind of juvenile points, but I think they are really talented, and their music has aged pretty well, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
You know,
like I watched
Ocean Man is a classic, obviously.
Yeah.
I watched a Depeche Mode documentary relatively recently, and it made me think exactly of that Shining documentary. It's like the entire thing was just basically people who were fans of Depeche Mode. They would catch a guy who was like the friend of a producer who worked with Depeche Mode. You know, it's like it was all of those. After about halfway, I was like, we haven't gotten any like sources from like a primary source. Basically, it's all just kind of fans talking about it, and that just has a very. You know what? That reminds me even your complaint about like the Evil Dead documentary. It's like all you're doing is going around and talking to fans. That's not all that interesting.
Yeah.
There's a Blu-ray feature.
It's like Dear Mr. Watterson. The entire documentary was just like random people who were like, "Oh, I love Calvin and Hobbes as a child so much," and we like never got to see Bill Watterson, who was supposed to be really reclusive and all. But you know, the only interesting part was when they were interviewing Stephen Pastis, who is a really great cartoonist and has even collaborated with Bill Watterson. But that was it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just like I can only handle so much of like celebrities saying like these musicians changed the way the music was made.
Oh, right.
And like and it's like, yeah, I get it, but like I have to
say that about anybody.
I have to
who's
have a point
popular.
of reference, not just by seeing clips being shown of their music in their music videos, but like I need to have that personal connection of like having some love of their discography beforehand. Like I need that in order to be like sold on it. Otherwise I'm just watching it skeptically like oh yeah, like it doesn't really I don't know, like sure they inspired a lot of people, but that doesn't mean that I think that they're like the most amazing thing ever. I don't know.
Oh, that Frank Zappa documentary is supposed to be really good. It's called Eat That Question. I'll post a link in chat.
I think I watched that.
What's it called?
Eat That Question.
No, not this one.
Frank Zappa in his own words.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'll watch that.
Yeah,
I watched a different one that came out.
Add
like
it to your watch
Yeah,
list. if
just
you haven't.
Zappa. That one, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of.
I have yet
I
to see
enjoyed
it.
that one. Was all right. I mean, it's not like anything special was happening in the filmmaking, but it's like what Adam was saying. I like Frank Zappa already, so I mean,
Yeah, I liked Amy Winehouse already before watching the Amy Winehouse documentary, and even then, there's a more
the same
interesting
director,
story that's like independent of the music itself, right?
The same,
same with
guy
Frank
like
Zappa.
made a
same with-
documentary about Oasis called Oasis Supersonic. Have you seen that?
No.
I like that. I think that's good.
Most of the ones I watch too are kind of like educational. You know, it's like, oh, I want to learn about like the weed industry, or I want to hear about like how corporations became persons and stuff like that. So the music ones are sometimes a little bit like just circle jerky.
I like
isn't this
like
thing
documentaries
great?
like
Yeah.
I like documentaries like Tickled, where it's kind of like it's like a bit smaller scale. It's like a very niche kind of thing that it's exploring that you haven't really heard of.
Yeah, you're
before.
learning something the entire time.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a new experience because it's you're not just watching the same thing you've already seen. That's my trouble with music documentaries is they all just wind up like looking like the same documentary, just change out the band name. Like I agree, it is pretty circle jerky. Like when it's just like, man, this band was so awesome for like 2 hours.
For 2 hours.
That's pretty. That's what so many of them turn into. And it's like they're still well made. I get it, but like, I can't.
By a suburban dad.
Yeah.
So going back to films being digitally edited for various reasons, and I don't know if this is true or not, but apparently people are like signing petition to have Trump digitally remove from like his cameo scene in Home Alone 2.
Is that a real thing or is that just people?
It's like funnier.
Macaulay Culkin was into it.
Yeah, he was into it.
Into the campaign to
I'm not a big
remove
fan
him?
of the man mice.
Yeah.
I don't know
And
if
That's
that's true or
hilarious.
not,
What's
but
so stupid?
like I'm not a big fan of the man myself, but I don't know if that, I don't know.
Is
having
the
him
movie
be
is not
digitally
saying,
removed is
hey,
justified.
go support Trump as future president in the year 26? Like, that's not what the movie is
The thing
saying.
is, that's like the most entertaining part of the movie. You get to like point and
Yeah,
be
it's funny.
like,
Yeah,
there
like
he
will
is.
they? It's like if they're gonna do that, will they also remove him as the father of that rich kid in the Little Rascals?
Oh,
Because
yeah.
he was in that too. And I
Well,
just
here's the
find
thing.
that a bit
Bored
bizarre.
people on Twitter are going to try to do whatever they can. So they're
Oh,
going to get
I've-
together, they're going to complain,
yeah.
they're going to try to get something done. And every time the movie studios actually make a concession and do the thing that they want them to do, it's this huge dopamine hit of like, yes, we did a thing.
Like
we
Sonic.
made-
That's how Snyder Cut got.
Yeah, but really,
Exactly like
We did
Sonic.
it, Reddit.
Now,
Bored
Yeah,
Twitter
like,
users are very
Matt
dangerous.
Pat literally made a video
does
that
fuck
was
all.
like, "Oh, it's impossible for the Snyder Cut to fail because of how long people have been waiting for it." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's pretty obvious."
Damn,
the
I'm
Sonic
like
one's
reading an
weird.
article on like all these stupid Razzie nominations throughout history. Their Razzies is so stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I only
Shining,
ever hear about the ones where they got it right.
Like
Heaven's
Mother.
Gate,
They
The
nominated Jennifer
Thing,
Lawrence for Mother.
Scarface.
Wait, what the thing get nominated
Scarface
for?
got a Razzie?
The Thing got nominated for worst score for no reason.
What?
Oh,
It was like
what?
Ennio
Are you
Morricone.
The Thing?
If I remember
What, the
correctly,
I think it might have won
Scarface has
too.
a wonderful score.
Is it?
Yeah, Heather
80s
Donahue,
thing?
the lead actress
Oh,
from the
bro.
Blair Witch Project, won a Razzie for her role for no reason.
What?
Oh,
It's like
come
they're just
on.
picking. They're the equivalent of the
Armin
fucking
White.
cinema score thing, you know, where it's
Oh.
like, oh, some normies didn't like the movie because it was different. Like, let's
Like,
nominate
yeah.
it for a Razzie. That's all they are. They don't actually go out of their way to watch the worst movies in a year because their entire list would just be things that no one's ever heard of.
I don't think
They
the
go for things that are
organization
popular
even-
because otherwise
Yeah.
their business doesn't exist.
Right.
I don't think the organization like even requires the voters to like watch the movies they're voting for, which is so ridiculous.
I mean, yeah, like the Oscars.
Well, it's
God.
also like it's a joke Oscars too, though. So like I don't,
Yeah, I
it's
wish.
supposed to be
Yeah, I
satire,
don't know.
kind
It's
of.
kind of embarrassing when they like miss the mark that hard, though. Where it's like,
yeah.
oh, a
there-
movie was
Shining.
different. This
Was there ever-
this
Yeah,
certainly
like
won't
Mother.
be recognized as a great film historically in the next 20 years. Like, it's like okay, just admit that you don't know what you're talking about.
Right. Or if they did like correction. or something.
I'm gonna go through everybody one by one and get some final questions and comments. I've got like I got a notification for like a grocery order that's gonna be showing up, and I gotta take care of that. So, all right, Sebastian.
Yes. We were talking about the Snyder Cut earlier, and you said like your first viewing of Justice League is gonna be the Snyder Cut, right?
Yes.
Yeah, what you said you were gonna do like the commentaries thing.
Yeah,
with
so
the-
yeah,
I don't
doing
know
the
if I
movie
will
cut?
because that's like 4 hours and it's going to be really boring. I was thinking of maybe doing a commentary for the Justice League Blu-ray, but then
Yeah,
the
that's
Snyder
what I
Cut
was
got
talking
announced.
about.
Yeah, but I'm not going to because I would rather watch the Snyder Cut with no expectations of what, I would rather watch that and go in blind.
Like, are you interested in watching like Man of Steel or Batman v Superman after watching the Snyder Cut, or no?
I haven't
Or-
watched it yet, so I don't have an answer
Oh.
for that. What were you asking, Sebastian?
Makes sense.
Yeah, basically that. But also like you said you are doing more of the Twilight movies, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there'll be another one coming out very soon.
Okay,
All right.
That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you for doing this as well.
Oh, thank you so much. Anna?
Hey, all right. So, recommendation time, I guess.
All right.
Have you heard of Valley of Tears?
I think so. Let's see what that is.
Yeah, so it's
2020?
like, it's like a 10 episode or so series on HBO Max. It's
Okay.
about in the 70s, there is this battle between Syria and Israel for what's called the Golan Heights, and it's just a really good historical drama, like one of the most accurate I've seen in
Okay.
ages. Like you've got
Awesome.
people, figuring out what kind of candy bar was available back then. But
Yeah, I
it's-
like
it's really
period
good.
pieces.
Yeah, it's really good.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll check that out. I've got
cheers.
a lot of HBO things on my watch list that I want to get through.
Okay.
But I will
All
check
right.
that
Well,
out.
thanks.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Jordan?
Oh shoot. I was actually going to ask, was there anything, just speaking of the Razzies, was there anything they praised generally that was considered a terrible film?
I don't think they praise any movies at the Razzies. I don't think there's a section where they say that something's good.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I think it's just about bad stuff. So we don't know what movies they actually like, if any.
That makes sense. Okay.
All right, thank you. Chris?
Will you be planning on doing any YMS on Tenet this year?
On Tenet? I don't know. I might never do it. And even if I review it, it won't be like a full YMS treatment. It's like, it just seems... Here's what's happening in my mind, is usually I do a Best Pictures Oscar roundup video. So I might as well wait and see if that's nominated for Best Picture. And then I can include like a short review in that or something. And we'll see how detailed I get. But yeah, I think enough time has passed that there might not be as many like fanboys or something, you know. So yeah, I'll review it in my Oscars Best Pictures nomination video, because I'm assuming it'll get up. It might not, but I'm willing to bet it might. It is the Oscars, and it is 2020.
What else came out this year?
There's a lot of great stuff that came out this year, but I don't expect the Oscars to know about them. So, all right, thank you, Jack.
Hi.
Hello.
I just wanted to say I'm such a big fan. You're probably my favorite YouTuber, so it's just
Thank you
really
so
cool
much.
to get to meet you and talk to you and everyone else here as well. Recently, I just got a Hodorowski Blu-ray pack with like Fando Wiley's El Topo, and then I've also got Dance of Reality and just as other like I think I've got everyone except Santa Sangre or whatever.
Santa Sangre, yeah. That's
Yeah.
getting a 4K release soon, actually. I think on
nice.
Arrow Video, maybe? Look it up. But yeah, that one's the
Isn't
first
that movie
4K.
like NC-17?
I don't know.
Something?
My question was, I haven't seen any of his movies yet. I've just really want to. So like, which one should I start with?
Start with the Holy Mountain. Start with the best one.
Holy Mountain. Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Some people like consider El Topo to be his best. Have
Well,
you
some
seen
people
that?
are wrong. All right. Was that everything, Jack?
Yeah, that's it. Thank you so
Awesome.
much.
Thank you so much. Boards of Cinema.
All right, well, I was kind of curious to like watch Under the Silver Lake, which I know you really like a lot. But I've noticed that it does look pretty similar to Inherent Vice in ways. Maybe I'm the
It is
only one
not.
who kind of feels that way.
Yeah, don't make that comparison.
It is a
You'll-
completely different movie than Inherent Vice.
Totally different
All
feel.
right, cool. And also, I've heard people saying that you should watch like Portrait of a Lady on Fire before Ammonite. Ammonite.
I know, right? It seems like even having not finished Portrait of a Lady on Fire yet, I feel like I can pick apart like clones of it, which is really weird.
You've seen
like
part
there was
of
another
Portrait
one
of
that
a
I
Lady
watched
on
at
Fire?
Sundance that was like, what was it called? Anyway, there's a lot of like old-timey lesbian stories coming out.
Have you seen?
It's like its own genre now.
Have you seen part of Portrait of a Lady on Fire?
Yeah, I saw the first hour of it at Cannes Film Festival, but there was only so much time that I had to like sleep before waking up and seeing a 3-hour-long Terrence Malick film at like 8 in the morning or some shit. And so I was like, you know what? This is good, but I'll catch the rest of it another time. And so I decided to be well rested at the end of my day, which is very important for film festivals because you don't want to be doing the whole thing like while you're half asleep. So
did you like the parts of Portrait of a Lady on Fire that you saw?
Yeah, I have no issues with it. I'll have to continue. I bought the Criterion, so I'll catch it at some point.
Awesome.
Yeah. All right, thank you. Augie?
I just want to say thanks for all your hard work. It really is pay off because your content's always consistent. It's always great.
Thank you so much.
I wanted to just say again, I really recommend Marble Hornets. Personally, for me, it just really inspired me for, like young filmmakers, and also it's best to watch like in the dark, I think, at night. But I wanted to ask just a simple question. What's your favorite song from Demon Days by Gorillaz?
Oh man, probably Dare. That's a good one.
Great
song.
Yeah.
Okay, I was
Song
just
among that.
I like Oh Green
It's
Yeah,
Dare.
Green World is good.
Yeah.
There he is. Was Dirty Harry on that record?
Yes.
Yeah, that's
what
a
about
good
Hong
one.
Kong? Or was that another one?
All right, was that it, Augie?
Yeah, just thanks for all the great videos.
Thank you so much. Brady.
Hi,
Hello.
I'm back. It's great to be back. I had a couple questions. One was about the 10 years vinyl. Has there been any word on that yet?
I
still-
I got back the most recent master for the vinyl master, and there were issues with it, and told him to fix it, and now I'm still waiting. So
cool.
We'll get on it.
And
it's a long process that's taking longer than it should, but yeah, I'm not really in control of anything at the moment. I just am waiting for things to be done that I can't do for my end.
That's cool. And are you a fan of Nine Inch Nails? And if you are, do you have a favorite album?
I am. I don't know if I were to pick an album. So many of their tracks I've listened to like just on like playlists of all their albums, and so sometimes it's difficult to pinpoint which song which album is on. But I'm pretty sure I liked some stuff going on in The Slip, and I'm pretty sure
good one.
I like a lot of stuff going on in the Downward Spiral. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Good album.
Durham.
Oh, me next. Cool. Yeah, just want to say, I guess, like everyone else, thanks for doing this. It's pretty cool to get the chance to talk to you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for doing YouTube. Well, in general, you're my favorite YouTuber.
Thank you.
And your film taste in film is probably like my favorite. I mean, you've influenced everything I like now. Questions. Have you seen the Black Dynamite TV show?
I've seen enough of it to know that I like it, even though I haven't gone through the whole thing yet, which is, I know, weird that I haven't, but I will be doing that probably this year, at least seeing more of it. I don't know which
really?
episodes I saw. I watched at least one episode because a friend was watching it, and I showed up and saw what it was like. But I do remember liking it. I remember that it was actually good. So,
I
I'll check out the
watched
rest of it.
watched the first 4 episodes, and after that, I'm actually getting bored of it, sadly. But I'm sure it's good. I mean, I don't know. Like, I feel like they got all the best jokes out of the way in the first 4 episodes.
Okay. Well, I'll see what it's like. I have no idea.
Ratings even to show for that. I've seen 3 Michelle Haneke films. Amour, Funny Games, and Piano Teacher yesterday. What do you recommend next? I was thinking Cachet, or Hidden.
Yeah, if you've seen those 3 already, go for Cachet.
I thought so.
And then like White Ribbon, yeah.
Oh, of course. How I could forget? Actually, White Ribbon. Yeah, shoot, just gotta see that. Yeah, and final question. I'm super excited for the Bahubali discussion. Super excited. That was a big piece of shit. Big piece of shit. So what? I could probably. I could probably find this out from the Patreon or something, but when is the next Sardonicast coming up?
They're released publicly on Mondays every second Monday. So in 6 days from now, there will be a new episode out publicly. But if you're on the Patreon for Sardonicast, they're released as they're edited. So usually, I mean, like, the closest they've been to the release date has been like 2 days before. So like the latest they've been published early would be like the Saturday instead of the Monday. Sometimes they're earlier than that. Most often it's like Friday or earlier, like Thursday or Friday. This one I have no idea. The person that usually does the first draft on the editing for the podcast before I check over it and give it the green light is in the middle of some sort of snowstorm and their power is out. So I might have to edit this whole one myself, but I'll start that tomorrow if there's no hope, I guess. So
yeah. Good luck with that. And yeah, thanks, dude. Thanks for everything.
No, thank you. I appreciate it. Amir?
Hey, Adam. Thanks for having me here again. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, I've been having a lot of fun. So, a couple things. First, I have another recommendation. I noticed you seem to be pretty interested in Italian cinema in the Bicycle Thieves episode of Sardonicast. So,
yeah,
I highly recommend you check out 8.5 by Federico Fellini.
Fellini, yeah. I hear that that's like, if I'm not mistaken, that's like there's a bit of like inspiration from Synecdoche in there.
A little bit. Like you'd think there would be, but like tonally they're completely different. Like I'd say 8.5 borders on being sort of like a romantic comedy with drama elements to it. It's definitely a lot more upbeat, I'd say. And it deals more with like the struggling artist aspect of it, while Synecdoche, New York is more focused on like the human sort of
yeah.
All right.
I need
just a couple comments.
I need to pop my
chat.
Fellini cherry for sure.
I just remembered these questions and I just sent you them in chat. So.
Sorry, you wanted me to go over more questions in chat after?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, they're pretty brief, kind of.
Okay. Well.
One of them's about your nascent.
We'll go through everybody else first because I've got like a time-sensitive thing I got to do. So.
And then just one more thing, if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure. What's up, Amir?
Yeah, I both of us gave the same rating to Saint Maud. I noticed. I was just wondering what you thought of it.
I enjoyed it for what it was. I thought that like the build-up of subtle into not so subtle was like really well done. Could have had better CG at a couple moments, but otherwise I think the effects in general were really good. I liked where it went. It reminded me of some other movies, and some of those other movies were better than what this was. So not a masterpiece in my opinion, but really competent, really effective. I enjoyed it. Lots of character.
Apparently the trailers give away too much, but I
never saw the trailer. That sucks. I never saw the trailer.
I found it a tad predictable, just a little bit, but I enjoyed watching it. That was my big thing for me.
I mean, it can only go one of two directions,
Yeah.
but yeah. All right. Thank you very much, Devin.
Hey, what's up, Adam?
Hello.
Hi. I don't really have two big questions, but I'll just ask a couple of quick ones. The first one, I wanted to know your opinion on, because the new Tom and Jerry movie's coming out. I don't know if you ever heard about those Tom and Jerry movies where like they do Willy Wonka and they do Wizard of Oz and stuff like that. I was wondering what your opinions are when like it's usually like animated like straight to DVD movies when they tackle another property and sort of just remake it.
Have one of them on my watch list for some reason, and I don't know why. So I guess I'll see it at some point. Maybe because I saw a trailer on YouTube and it looks stupid, but yeah, I haven't seen them.
Awesome. And then just like another quick question. So I've only seen Dancer in the Dark by Lars von Trier. I haven't really delved into his other films, and I was wondering. I really like Dancer in the Dark, but I was wondering which one should be my next go-to Trier film.
The most similar one to Dancer in the Dark would probably be like Breaking the Waves. His best one, in my opinion, is probably Antichrist. Those are two really great movies.
More sex in it than Dancer in the Dark.
Yeah, there's a lot to check out. everything he's made has at the very least been interesting, even if some of them have been like kind of frustrating, especially some of his
Even the
recent
house that
ones.
Jack built.
I'd be willing to watch House That Jack Built again. I'm never gonna watch Nymphomaniac again though.
Yeah,
But
Armin White
yeah.
loves the house that Jack built, which really caught me off guard because of how much he hated funny games, even though they're both trying to be commentaries
I
on
mean,
like violence and
they're
movies.
different, but yeah, he's inconsistent.
Yeah, they do
and I
look
don't trust
different.
him to be consistent.
Devin.
And then what else did you have, Devin?
Oh no, those are my only 2 questions. But someone was about to say something to me.
Oh, just make sure that you don't watch Nymphomaniac before Antichrist.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
Adam talked about
Or just don't watch Nymphomaniac.
I wasn't
Watch
planning on
Elephant
it.
twice.
Sick bird.
All right. Well, thank you
All right,
for answering those questions. It's great to be here.
Thank you. Pineapple?
Hey, I didn't really have much more to say because, like, actually, I can say, one, this has been a really fun time. I'm glad I'm here, and I decided to join in on this. This has been a good time. And the only really thing I wanted to say was just mentioning this like surreal Barbie verse that not many people know about, with all these like uncanny, hastily animated Barbies, like with a cast of animals with weird human teeth. Like I feel like more people need to.
That's like
know about
Sonic levels of nightmare fuel.
It's like this whole
Or at least it
realm
sounds
of,
like that.
like 37 movies that just keep coming out, and presumably people buy them. Other than mentioning that, I'm completely fine. Like, 2 thumbs up.
I think they made like a Bobbleheads movie.
All right, was that everything, Pineapple?
Yep.
Okay, thank you so much. Fetorius?
That's me. God, I don't really have too much to say. I guess I guess I was just wondering, are you at all a Talking Heads fan? And if so, do you have any songs by them you really like?
They're awesome.
What song have I heard is the real question.
And you might ask yourself.
Yeah, well, they were they the band that did the song that got turned into a cover that Naughty Dog stole?
That's New Order.
No, that's New Order.
No, yeah, that is.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I would have to. It's one of those things where, like, I'm sure if I heard one of their popular songs, I'd be like, I'd recognize that. But as it is right now, I'm not too familiar with the music.
Yeah. I guess, again, in that case, you should watch the Stop Making Sense like live concert movie if you've like never really heard of them. I think that's like a good place to like if you've never heard of the band, even if you've never heard any songs, like it's been recommended from other people that you like start by
1984.
Yeah.
Oh, David that's already on my watch list. Is this like a Criterion thing?
Oh, I have no idea.
Or maybe it's just because Jonathan Demme directed it. Okay.
But yeah, and then other than that, I guess just thanks for sparking my interest in film.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Pretentious Bloke?
Hi.
Hello.
So I recently watched Salo, or the 120 Days of Sodom, and I thought it was really underwhelming. So that kind of got me thinking, what are other films that are better fit for like the title as one of the most disturbing movies? Just because I think that
yeah, I don't know. Maybe part of the problem with Salo is that it does have that title. Like maybe that's like part of the problem at this day and age is that it's like it cannot live up to its supposed reputation. I would say Martyrs is a really great disturbing movie. It's both like existentially disturbing and visually and like raw gore, you know, all that stuff.
Battle
Irreversible.
Yeah. Apparently, like the
Irreversible,
remake
yeah.
was, like apparently the remake of Martyrs like took away all the gore or something.
I'm assuming the remake was terrible. I haven't seen it.
I thought you gave it a 1.
and then I'm
think
trying to
you
think of
rated
the
it a
other
Itchy the
Antichrist is
Killer.
a really disturbing movie. Also,
Serbian film.
Serbian film.
Serbian film is try hard.
Serbian film is just so it's not even disturbing. It's just edgy.
Well, but like I think part of the issue with Salo is that it kind of sells edgy, but it's so old now that it's like, yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, Salo. Yeah, it's fine.
I'd have to interview
I
someone
like
from
its
the
commentary.
Well, the book is great. I highly recommend it. The Marquis de Sade is the one who wrote it, which is where we get the word sadism from. And Quills is also based on his life as well. So like I recommend the book. The book is actually substantially more graphic than the movie.
I'd imagine.
I think
was that it, pretentious bloke?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
awesome. I just need to mention on the top of the Marquis de Sade, Armie Hammer, when he was being interviewed and he was asked what famous person would you talk to or have like a cup of tea with or cup of coffee, he said Marquis de Sade. So,
of course,
that's funny.
Proofs in the pudding.
I just saw him in freaking, what do you call it? Arrested Development. That was like his first role, and I was like, is that
Really?
Armie Hammer?
Yeah, I just saw him in Sorry to Bother You. Good movie.
Yeah.
Chad, did you have any?
I do,
final
Adam.
questions,
So
comments?
I want to ask you. This is like a hard to frame question, but so let's say you have protagonists in your movie, and you have heroes who act heroic. You have anti-heroes like Deadpool, who are basically like or Punisher, where they kind of feel like bad guys, but they're still ultimately heroes. Then you have movies where the protagonist is basically the villain of the story. Out of
You
those
made a video on
types,
Nightcrawler.
I did.
Yeah, that's kind of a good example of that.
So Nightcrawler or like There Will Be Blood. And so what I wanted to ask you is like, what's your favorite actor portrayal of a character who was the villain of the movie, but they were also the protagonist?
American Psycho was really good.
Oh wow, I didn't think you liked that much. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I like Christian Bale in that movie quite a bit.
That's probably
I haven't seen it in forever. I liked it. I loved it when I was younger. Who knows how much I would like it right now? But I have good memories of it at least.
It's still pretty good. Have you read the book?
Yeah. No, I haven't.
Very good.
No,
I think
there's like an American Psycho 2 in which the killer is a woman. It's so
with
feminist.
Yeah, it's Jackie from That 70s Show.
Yeah, that was stupid. Yeah, that's the one that jumps out to me right now. I don't know. I might have to think about it if I had another answer for that.
I know you're busy, but I listened to the audiobook. I'm telling you, the book's awesome.
Okay.
It really elevates
the
movie.
I have yet to listen to an audiobook, but I guess I'll start at some point.
I started with Harry Potter.
Yeah. Do you use the service that YouTubers promote in their videos?
I did not actually. I had tapes. It was back in.
Oh, you just had actual tapes.
Yeah, who was
did
that
you
guy?
Did you listen to a tape of American Psycho?
No, by then I
need to return some videotapes.
I had it on a iPod because that's how old I am. But there was Anna was asking about what narrator. There was one in particular who everyone really liked. I think his name was Dan something or Dave something. But
I like the Jim Dale.
Maybe that's who it was, Dale. Yeah, whoever it was, he was really good at doing voices. And what was funny is that I heard the books first with his impressions of everyone and his pronunciations, and so it made the movies also weird because I was like, that's not what Hagrid sounds like.
Yeah.
Weird. All right, Chase. You'll have to unmute yourself if you want to ask any questions or comments. Chase
This is dead.
Maybe he's not here.
All right. I'll come back to him if you figure out your mic. If it's an issue with your microphone and you figure it out, just shout, and then we'll come back to you after LD. LD.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, cool. So are there any other furry-esque type of movies you would plan to watch for an Adam and Pals?
All right.
For an Adam and Pals, probably. I don't know where I would start. I mean, like, based on people were telling me Barbie Rapunzel is funny for an Adam and Pals, and I can see on like the clips of that there's like some dumb dragon thing. So
yeah,
my favorite. That
I don't know. I'd have to think about it. I'd have to. Oh yeah, maybe Howard the Duck or something. Is that furry? Not really.
There's like a topless duck woman in like the first 10 minutes or something.
It's extremely furry.
Yeah.
And would you ever? I don't know if this was asked before, but would you ever consider watching The Lion King 2?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know. There's some things that like. I'm open about myself, but there's some things that would like be a bit too the commentary would just delve into like things that would make most of my audience uncomfortable. I think, you know.
Yeah,
It's
people
like
are
I don't
like,
need to
"Ooh, it's
talk
gonna be
about
a
my
Godfather
weird
2
shit
type
for
narrative."
such a. It would take up too much of the commentary, I think.
Yeah,
So,
that makes
and that would
sense.
just be polarizing and divisive. Yeah, it's a bad movie. Anyway, is that all you had to ask?
Yeah, that's it.
All right, thank you. And then Chase.
Oh yeah, sorry, I don't know if you called
No
me.
problem. Did you have any questions or comments before we end?
Firstly, thanks for hosting this event.
Oh, thank
It's
you.
a pleasure to speak with you and everyone else here.
Thank you for
secondly,
coming.
Yeah, of course. Secondly, I know your thoughts on Scar for various reasons, but what are your thoughts on Kovu, his son in The Lion King 2?
He's lame. He's stupid.
Yeah, I thought he wasn't his kid.
Perfect.
I thought it was just
I don't know. I don't know what he's
kid,
even
he's
trying to do
his,
canonically. He's just like the animation's worse, the voice acting's worse, the character's written worse. Like I don't know. Like for me to be attracted to a character, they would have to like I don't know, be well written or something, or like well animated, or there would have to. Why would I not be attracted to like a fucking wall at that point? I don't fucking know. Or like a rock. Like just an inanimate object is like basically what it would be if I was attracted to Kovu. All right, sorry fanboy. All right, Boards of Cinema, you should just hang on to just keep those notes for extra questions hang on to them for next time, because I gotta run. I've got like grocery stuff coming really soon, and I got to deal with that so I don't get my groceries porch pirated or whatever. So, thank you all for joining, and I'll catch you next month. Just check out the Patreon page where it says the perk. Just refresh that at the beginning of next month at some point, and there'll be a new date somewhere within the first week of next month. Will be when I update the date. Anyway, thank you so much. I gotta run. So.
Bye. Take it easy.
Bye, everyone.